Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Hello, Cam Haynes.
What's up?
What's going on, buddy? Good to see you.
Oh, man. It's good to be here in the
Yeah.
spaceship. Look at this.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
It's very polarizing. People love it or hate it. A lot of people hate it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't love it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's interesting. It's we did it really quickly. I mean, we decided to move here within 6 weeks. We were
Yeah.
here. I said this on a video on my Instagram, but I should probably say it again. You live up there in Oregon.
Yes.
And I said something incorrect. I said about there was a guy who got, I know there was one guy who got arrested for lighting fires. Mm-hmm. And I thought I'd read some other shit about activists getting arrested for lighting fires or Antifa people. Shouldn't even call them activists. What do you call them? Crazy people.
Idiots.
Morons. But it's not true. So sorry if you
Yeah.
heard me say that. Jamie informed me of it today. It's one thing about being out of the loop. You don't know when people are mad at you.
Yeah.
But this time, I agree with them. Like, they're
Yeah.
mad at me for something that...
Well, somebody did get arrested for
Yes.
the Molotov cocktail.
I read that.
Right.
That turns out to be true. He got arrested, and then he got out of jail, and then lit some more things on fire. But
Right.
see, here's the thing. Like, when you say Antifa, like, what does that mean, right?
Yeah,
It could just be a crazy person. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of Antifa is. Like, that guy that shot that dude in Portland, the guy that shot the Trump supporter.
Yeah.
That guy's a crazy person.
Yeah.
He's dead now, right?
Right.
He was a crazy person.
Yeah.
You know, just decided to pile on to this thing and become an activist. But that's when you don't have an entry examination.
Yeah.
Anyone can just join
just
up.
show up.
Yeah, you just show up, and now you're Antifa.
Yeah.
And now you're a part of the resistance.
Yeah.
But I fucked up. I said that a lot of people were arrested. I read some shit about it. I don't remember where I read it, about all these people getting arrested for lighting wildfires, but it wasn't true. It was just this one guy that for sure.
I think they should have been arrested. Maybe that's the difference.
Well, I see. That's why it made sense to me, because they had
Yeah.
been arrested for lighting fires they hadn't been arrested. They had been seen lighting fires and throwing them into the mayor of Portland's apartment lobby.
Yeah.
And they were lighting fires out in the street in front of his apartment. Mm-hmm. It just, when someone said, "Oh, look at all these arrests. They're arresting people for lighting fires."
Yeah.
I just went, "Oh, that makes sense." And
Yeah.
I just repeated it.
Wow.
I'm very upset with myself. I don't like when I repeat shit that's not true. That's definitely not true.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hard time, though.
It's
I
your
mean,
spot up there, though.
It
That's
is.
That's your area.
Yeah, it's you know, people, and they find out, oh, you're from Oregon. So what do you think of all, it's kind of embarrassing to just, because I understand people have an opinion and they want change, and they, maybe some of it is valid, but I don't agree with 100 nights of burning, or however many nights it's been, of just burning and ruining a city. I don't understand how that, I mean, eventually, maybe one night, have a protest, do whatever, get your message out, talk to people, but just destruction, I don't get that.
I think it's exactly what we were just saying, that you get enough people that join onto a movement, and the movement has no like directive or leaders. They're just there showing up, and you're going to get morons that do things like light books on fire and throw them into the lobby, like doing all the things that they were doing, trying to break into the federal building. It's just, people are nuts, man. And people are there. Everyone's so many angry people right now too. That's also part of the problem. So many people are angry.
It's a crazy time.
And so many people are out of work because of COVID, because everything's shut down. So people are furious because of that. They don't know what to do. It's one of those things where it doesn't seem like there's a solution on the horizon for a lot of people.
No.
And so then they're like, we got to burn this system down. Fuck this system. And it's like,
Yeah.
whew. But
That's
Portland
rough.
is a fun place. I love going up there. I've always loved Portland.
Well, I'm proud to be from Oregon. I mean, Oregon is a great state. I don't know, it's really hard to support just destruction.
Yeah.
And
It's just, it doesn't seem like it's helping anything. And then, all the conspiracy theories. Oh, it's the fucking, they're trying to bring down democracy. It's Russia and China involved. And, George Soros is funding it. Like, there's a million different versions of the conspiracy of to why there's so much chaos in the streets. It's a weird time.
Yeah. I mean, Eddie Bravo was right about a lot of stuff.
Alex Jones was right about a lot of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It is crazy, because you start, and I've even texted you about this, about wondering about, people would always say, well, do the elites run the country and they're controlling this and media and this and that. And then you start wondering or thinking or seeing, and you see all this and it's like, maybe that's true. Maybe the elites have been controlling everything and they're still trying to with this COVID and the fear and everything they're doing. Just they can control people with fear, and that's what's happening.
I get super suspicious when people use that term, the elites. I'm
Yeah.
like, how do you get in that group?
I don't even know what that is.
Is there a meeting?
Yeah.
Like, what is the elites? What does that mean?
I don't like them. I know that. I know
Yeah.
enough about it, but
I don't know if they're real. I mean, there has to be, right? There is a Bilderberger meeting, right?
Yeah.
Where the Bilderberg group, they get together and they meet up.
Mm-hmm.
But what do?
I don't know.
Maybe they just talk about interest rates.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were talking about this, and I'm a bow hunter. All right. So I don't like the politics and trying to explain all this.
You
but
stay in your lane.
I try to stay in my lane, but I do have thoughts on other things. And we were talking about, like, if you even look at the movie 300 and Gladiator, like the old time, the weird, they would say boy lovers, and, it's like these politicians. It's like a toned down version of that still. It's like they're so politicians. I don't know. That's why Trump got elected. People are so sick of quote politicians, but there still is that influence and that them controlling, and then just so much different than the people,
Yeah. Well, I think that's how you become successful as a politician. You have to be a politician. You have to be like deeply embedded. And again, this is just guessing. I'm a moron too. I should stay in my lane. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that the only way you really get successful as a politician is you have to be connected to all these other people that are connected to all these special interest groups and lobbies. And that's why you have to go to these fundraisers, and that's why you have to mingle, and then it becomes normal. You become a part of, it becomes a normal part of the system.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that that's the case with almost any big business. Like, that's why guys get together, the big businessmen get together in golf.
Yeah.
Right? They get together and they talk shit and they figure out their plan and they work out deals and stuff. And, and some of them do it on Fuck Island with Jeffrey Epstein.
God.
I think that's a lot of...
No, wait. What do you mean? I haven't heard anything about that.
Well,
what
it's
is
just
that?
a place. It's beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful trees and the beautiful warm water.
And why is it called Fuck Island?
Oh, I don't call it that. I call it a nice place to meet nice people.
Right.
And,
I mean, how crazy is that? That's just gone. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, wasn't that a story, or was that a thing?
Just went away. But that sounds way crazier than Antifa lighting fires in Portland.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's true.
Right.
That's a real one.
Yeah, there's...
I can talk about that, and they're like, well, yeah, it is what it is.
God.
Yeah. God, I'm so
Crazy.
mad at myself for saying that story and to have it not be true. When Jamie showed it to me today, I was like, did I say that?
Yeah.
What is it like working with a moron? Is
Well-
it weird? Like, no, really. Like, having someone like me being a moron like I am, being responsible for steering the ship, and, your livelihood is connected to this. This has got to be strange, right?
You're hitting the buttons, man.
Well, you got to take the good with the bad, I guess. Is that how you look at it?
Yeah.
So how does a self-proclaimed moron
Yeah.
have the president of the United States
Well, he's clearly a moron too. This is the only thing that makes sense.
tweeting about you, mentioning you? When does him and Biden get here?
No, it's
for
not
the
going to happen.
podcast?
See,
What?
Joe Biden's a smart one. He's like, well, that guy's a moron. I'm not going on his podcast. But
If
Trump,
he's a smart one, we got problems.
Trump is like, that makes sense to me. I'm in. Well, Trump is like, I mean, he's obviously deeply, again, way out of my lane, just talking nonsense. But he's obviously
Nobody's
connected to
listening.
business. He's a huge businessman,
Yeah.
hugely successful businessman, but not a politician in any way,
Which is
other
good.
than becoming president.
Yeah.
Which is fucking bananas.
Yeah.
Part of it is good, man. Part of it's good just to expose the system and just to let everybody know, hey, look what can happen.
Yeah.
Look how it can go wrong.
He has a whole fake news has really got some traction now.
Yeah, fake
Yeah.
news is a real thing now.
I
You can
was-
say fake news.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with the treaty we just signed with Israel. I mean, remember Jared Kushner got beat up a lot, and Trump for appointing, and the whole family, and how everybody's involved in his operation basically. But Jared Kushner wasn't qualified, and then here we signed this great treaty with Israel, and how'd that happen?
I don't know. See, if Jared Kushner was not married to Trump's daughter, I think people would look at him very differently. The problem is he's married to Trump's daughter, and he looks like Damien from The Omen. Have you ever seen photos of him and Damien side to side?
No, I haven't.
Dude, he
Yeah.
looks like a goddamn horror movie. Like
Yeah.
he's the devil's son. Because perfect. Like slick back hair, perfect angular features, thin, and always wears a suit.
Yeah.
Jamie, show me what's up.
Push some buttons.
He looks very similar to the Omen.
Well, whatever he did, it was good.
Come on, son. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at him and look at Damien. Look at the. Yeah, come
Oh,
on.
right
Come
there.
on. Right there. Come
That's
on.
almost exact.
Bro.
Is that Photoshop?
No.
That looks like it could be Photoshop.
No, and even he's showing off his watch. Look at my watch. The devil gave me this watch.
That's not Gucci.
Look at that. Those two up in the that looks like a horror movie. Like, oh, they're bringing in the Antichrist.
Oh.
The one on the far left with Donald Trump being blurry and him, that one right there. Click on that one. Come on, son. That's some satanic shit. If that was in a Stephen King movie, you'd be like, oh my God, they've got to stop him. They've got to stop him.
Well, whatever powers he's used, it worked out good for this treaty.
It's just got good features.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
the kid's
it.
getting a hard time because he's got good angular features.
Yeah.
He's got a
Yeah.
s-
I wish I
solid-
looked that good.
I do too.
Yeah.
Smooth skin.
Oh, man.
Looks nice. He's
Oh.
young.
Yeah.
Handsome.
Tight?
Yeah. Everything's smooth. No ruddiness to his skin.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. The problem is if you're married to the president's daughter and then you get a big job in the White House, automatically you're fucked. Like
Yeah.
people are just going to say automatically you don't deserve that position. There's no way.
And Biden's son is the same thing. Probably.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't come up too often either, and that's pretty scandalous.
Right, that thing where, someone got fired because Biden forced it through. Well, how did that work? Do you remember that?
Oh. Yeah, no,
don't
I better.
care. We should stay out of politics.
Let's
It's
try
all
to avoid the
depressing.
retractions.
I just wish there was something going on that I was really excited about. Like, this is good.
Like elk hunting.
Yes. Oh, elk hunting. We're
See?
doing that soon.
I know. That's
We're days away.
And the thing about it, so I was just in Colorado, no reception, you versus the animals, reading the country, reading the wind. That's life. That's none of this BS.
Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about the woods as a reset is that when you're out there and quiet, you realize, oh, none of these animals out here give a fuck about me.
No.
They don't know who I am. They don't know what is happening in the world. They're not aware of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden
No.
or Nancy
No.
Pelosi or Donald Trump. They don't know nothing. They're just out there trying to eat grass and not get eaten.
And breed.
Yeah. And
doing
John,
their
when
thing.
John was there last year, he was like 18 yards away from a mountain lion.
John. Oh, Dudley.
Dudley,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I saw, we saw, I think when I was there, I saw one, but the guys hunting saw two during the day, mountain lions, and just out doing, because the snow came, the weird snowstorm. It went from 90 degrees one day to 20 degrees the next day.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
Jared Kushner. That's how.
Yeah.
Satan.
Yeah, exactly. Had to be. But anyway, the animals they didn't know what to do. So the lions were out hunting hard. They were like, this is great. The animals weren't moving because they didn't know. They were kind of caught off guard. Normally the seasons change as a gradual. And I think the bulls stopped bugling. The deer stopped moving. Normally the bucks are in velvet, so they're off feeding and just in their normal routine. Everything stopped because the snow and this cold temperature came. But the lions they're like, oh yeah, now we're going to the hot pocket section and killing some deer and elk. And it was crazy, but we saw two lions, and then the bear were kind of gone for a little while, but then they popped back out too, and it was good hunting for sure.
Yeah. That video that you posted of the bear eating the elk calf. That's something that people need to see.
Yeah.
Need to see it's like people who love wild animals. I understand it. But there's a real cruelty to the way they die in the wild.
Yeah.
That if people get upset about hunters, like I understand that you wouldn't want a beautiful animal to die. I do understand that. But you kind of need to know that they're going to die no matter what happens. And this is the way they usually die.
Yeah.
And it's a rough way to go.
You know,
Bears eating animals like that, it's so hard to watch too because the bears don't really kill them first.
no. And the bear, this year was a hard year for the elk calves because So the cows were pregnant, we call it dropping the calves. So they were giving birth, and the bear were just following, knowing that the calves are going to be dropped. They'll be on the ground. They can't stand up, and they could just kill them pretty quick. And so they were finding like two dead elk calves a day, every day. And this was a hard year specifically because it was dry in southern Colorado. So the grass didn't grow. Normally the grass would be taller. There'd be more cover. Elk calves could hide better. They were just laying out in the open. And the bears were like, oh, okay, there you are. Go kill them and start eating them. And it was just, they hammered them this year. I mean, normally I talked to the game warden there when I was on that hunt. Great guy, legend. Bob's his name. And he's been there for many years. And he said that normally in that area, there's about, I think, 23 elk calves survive a year out of 100. And this year was down in the teens because of the grass was, they couldn't hide.
So it's going to be a rough year.
It's
in the
tough
future.
to survive anyway. I mean, 23 out of 100 isn't, don't quote me on these numbers, but it was just, the point is I want to make it was less this year because there wasn't the cover.
Yeah, it's a rough world, man. The world that they live in. When we were there with Johnny Hamilton and he was telling us that story, I've told a story before on the podcast about how they were tracking a cat and they found the cat's tracks and then elk tracks and then no more cat tracks. And then they found the elk about 100 yards later. The cat had jumped on the elk's back and taken out a big bull elk.
Yeah.
I mean, they are amazing creatures. They live in the snow. They live in cold weather in the mountains. They live solo.
Yeah.
They hunt solo. They only interact with other animals mostly when it's time to breed, right?
Yeah. Cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And cats specifically kill a lot of big bucks. And the reason why is because those big old bucks, they like being by themselves. They don't like they just kind of go off by themselves, bed, and they live a solo life, basically. That's easy target for a cat. So cats kill a lot of big bucks.
Yeah, it makes sense. But I love that they're there. This is the thing about predators. It's like, I don't want to get eaten by a mountain lion.
No.
But I love that they exist. I don't want to get eaten by a grizzly, but I love the fact that there are grizzly bears.
Yeah.
Like all of it it's such an interesting world, the world of the wild, the world of predator and prey. Mm-hmm. And when you're out in there, you feel so vulnerable and you feel so fleshy. Like whenever I see you're taking care of an elk that you killed and you feel their hide.
Yeah.
You're like, God, I'm so weak. Like everything that we have is so soft and they live in this life that's so robust. Oh. And if
they survive,
wild.
Like the bull I just killed, the taxidermist, he just texted me or sent me a message on Instagram of the ivory. So that's the back teeth of the bull. They call them ivories. They're ivory. People make jewelry out of them. But he said they're the most worn ivories he's ever seen. So the bull was very old. And so you can imagine a bull that's in that country 10, 12 years old where you're living outside every single day. I mean, we stay outside one time and it's just like, oh my God, I thought I was going to die. People do die. People do die from hypothermia. They're out every single day living in the mountains. So when you see their hide, they're built for that. When their muscle, I mean, a 700-800 pound bull elk that never eats meat, obviously just eating grass, solid muscle. Those things are just built. It's incredible. And also with all those lions and the bears trying to survive that, you mentioned Johnny Hamilton, they took 8 lions out of that country this year and we're still seeing them during the daylight every day.
They have so much food.
Oh yeah. That's the thing. If it's good hunting, lions are going to be there.
Yeah. It's just the world that they live in. So spectacular. Mm-hmm. They're trying to reintroduce wolves to Colorado.
Oh God.
You know about all that?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You think that's ridiculous?
Yeah, no.
I'd like to have a biologist sit down and talk to, like a biologist who's pro reintroduction of wolves, sit down with someone like you and have like a conversation about it.
Yeah, here's the problem. Here's what they do. They say, it all sounds good. Hey, wolves are a big part of the whatever. Let's get them back in where they used to be. let's make, because even you said you like knowing there's grizzly bear out
Yeah.
there, and you don't want to be attacked, but just knowing they're there and maybe seeing them. And wolves are an amazing animal. The problem is they make all these, I don't know, I don't want to say promises, but they sell it a certain way. Like, we're going to have this many packs of wolves, and they'll breed this often, and then so we'll have a carrying capacity of this many wolves. Well, so once the wolves are there, then it's, oh no, we can't kill wolves, because they sell it like they're going to manage them,
Right.
because we're going to keep this many. But then it's like, once they're there, they're like, oh no, we can't hunt wolves. I was like, well, no, I thought we were going to manage them. Oh, so that then everything goes back to nothing. And then you got all these protests with all these pro-wolf advocates saying we can't hunt wolves. So they're there, they're breeding over and over and over. You got all these wolves running around killing because that's what they do, and we can't hunt them because now we've backtracked.
Well, it is one of those things where they promise that, like, they have a number. Like, if we have 2,000 wolves in this particular area, then we'll open it up to management. And
Right.
what management means is they'll have tags, and they'll put tags available for hunters, and they can go and hunt wolves. People that hear that, they're like, wait, why would you, like, they hear, you don't eat wolves, why would you hunt wolves?
Mm-hmm.
Wolves are beautiful, wolves are like dogs.
Yeah.
But I understand that, and I'm on that perspective. I get that perspective. It makes a lot of sense to me, but people need to know that there was a reason why they wiped them out in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, they were destroying cattle, and they were, I understand too, like, hey, they were here first. I get that. I get
Yeah.
that perspective. But if you eat meat and you like having cattle, these ranchers, it's a struggle as a rancher as it is.
Yeah.
And if ranchers get hit with wolves, and wolves start taking out their calves and taking out their cattle, like, it can be devastating. They, like in Alaska, they kill people's dogs. They do a lot. There's a lot of wild videos of wolves tearing apart dogs in people's backyards.
And wolves are just doing wolf things.
Yeah, that's what they do.
It's not their fault. But once they're there,
Yeah.
they're not going anywhere.
Well, places where they exist, they have a different perspective on them. I remember I was in BC, and I ran into this man at the airport, and I forget why he came up to me. I think like I had a hunting T-shirt on or something.
Keep hammering.
Maybe it was a keep hammering shirt. But he came up to me and he said, "Are you a hunter?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, we do a lot of hunting up here." He goes, "I do a lot of wolf hunting." And I was like, you wolf hunt? Like, just right out of the gate at the airport.
Yeah.
I'm a wolf hunter.
Yeah.
And I go, why do you hunt wolves? Like, what are you hunting wolves for? This is like early on in
Right.
my hunting days.
Right.
And he's like, if you don't hunt them, man, you got a real problem with their numbers. He goes,
Yeah.
and he was telling me stories about friends that have ranches and they get attacked by wolves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the cattle get attacked by wolves. And he was telling me that they take barrels of frozen meat and they freeze them with water, and then they leave these big bricks of frozen meat and water out for wolves. And then he's got stands set up where he who waits
To hunt 'em.
for wolves, because it takes a long time for them to eat through the meat and the ice, like a barrel
Right.
filled with. And he just kind of sets up shop, and he goes, some of them are just too smart. He goes, I'll set that up, and they're like, nope, I know what that is.
Yeah.
They won't come anywhere near it. He goes, you'd be amazed how smart they are. But it's just people that live like in BC, in northern BC, there's a lot of wolves. They have wolf issues up there. And those people, they have a completely different attitude about what a wolf is.
Yeah.
And
But it's the people that know wolves.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing in BC with the grizzly
Right.
bears. I mean, and anybody
Exactly.
who's out in the bush knows, hey, grizzlies are a big problem out here. But the people in the city make the decisions with the vote.
Right. And that's what happened when they banned grizzly bear hunting in BC.
And that's what would likely happen in Colorado with wolves.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, I mean, Colorado's Denver and Boulder.
Yeah.
Right? That's the big population
Very
centers.
liberal.
Very. And they're not going to be into shooting wolves. Like,
Anybody
wolves are
who's
cool.
out there, like where I was and the guys I'm hunting with, there's no debate.
Yeah.
No wolves.
Yeah.
And it's, I
But
mean,
some people say, like, the reason that's the case is because people want a lot of animals that they can hunt. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the argument. Like, Steve Rennell has actually talked about this before with Alaska, that Alaska's done this sort of overmanagement of wolves in certain areas because they want to make sure that there's a high number of moose and caribou and deer so that people will come up there to hunt.
yeah.
Because they're trying to maintain. And he's like, there's an argument that that's not the natural ecosystem.
The natural ecosystem doesn't include skyscrapers.
That's true too.
So yeah, I mean, humans do infringe on that's part of it. So it's never going to be like caveman or Native American times. It's never going to be back to that.
Yeah.
So we're trying to balance it as best we can. And big game animals are a resource. They're a resource for the states that they, hunters do come in. They contribute to a lot of things, the habitat, the conservation, different projects, and that's hunting money. So if there's a bunch of wolves there and you can't hunt the wolves because these groups have protested and made it illegal, and then the wolves are killing all the deer and elk, that's not going to work.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation because I love the fact that there are places where there are wolves. Like whenever we've gone to BC, to John and Jen's place up there,
Alberta.
Alberta. Whenever we've gone up there in Canada, there's wolves in that area, and there's something cool about it. I remember we saw one once in the distance crossing a road. It's pretty far away.
Yeah,
but I remember that was like the closest I've ever been to a wolf. But just seeing it crossing that road, and I'm like, look at that. That's a fucking wolf.
Yeah, and
whoa.
I think that we get our bear license, but then we also get a license for wolves. I think it's $25 or $50. It's pretty cheap. And there's always a hope that you'll see a wolf, and it'd be nice to get an arrow in one. And
well, they want to control them because they destroy the population of the moose and the elk, and it's for people that aren't in that world, they're like, well, why would you want to kill a wolf? Like, why don't just let them sort it out? Like, that's the California argument. Like, what they want to do, essentially, the people that manage wildlife, a lot of them, at least in California, they would like to eliminate hunting and let the animals all take care of themselves in some sort of normal wild way and force everyone to eat tofu. Force you to eat tofu until you grow breasts.
Right.
I think that's the plan. I think it's written somewhere. I don't think that's true. But I do think that they don't like the idea of human beings. There's things that people will accept, like deer hunting.
Yeah.
People have deer hunted forever. A lot of people have eaten deer. Deer tastes good.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But as soon as you move into things like mountain lions, like even if you tell people that mountain lions taste good, they don't want to hear that.
No.
They do not want to hear you're eating mountain lions.
Well, they're not seeing lions, so they don't think there's any out there. But California is riddled with mountain lions.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
There's quite a few. And they also don't have bad experiences with them. I think the people that have bad experiences with them have a completely different attitude.
Yeah, you have one on your back, you want them hunted.
Yeah, now it's not. You're not in Disney.
Yeah.
You're not in a Disney movie. Now
Right.
you're a part of the food chain, and you realize, like, oh, I'm way down here. I'm not up here. When I'm in my house and I've got a gun, I'm up here. But when you're out in the woods and you don't have a gun and you're hiking and you realize you're being stalked.
Yeah.
There's a crazy video that I saw once from Colorado, this guy, and there's a mountain lion slowly walking towards him on this trail. And he's trying to figure out what to do, and he's talking to it, and he's like saying, "Hey, get the fuck out of here!" Like, and you realize like he got away, like the mountain lion gave up on him, luckily, but that could have been the end of that guy's life. That thing is just slowly moving towards him and trying to figure out whether or not it could eat him, and that's all it does. It's not like I've never done this before. I don't know if I can do this. Like it takes down things every single day.
Yeah, I mean it definitely. Yeah, when a predator locks eyes on you like that, it's definitely a different feeling. I mean, yeah, it's they're good at what they do. I mean, they kill.
Yeah, I remember that Under Armour commercial that you did, where they had a wolf in the commercial with you.
Yeah,
and you said that they could only get the wolf to growl one time because after that it was over. Like you could not control the wolf.
No, yet we to make it growl, to make it mad, we gave it meat and then took it away. So it was very upset it didn't get the meat. But once it got in that, because it was obviously a tame wolf or it'd been in movies, trained wolf. But once you introduce meat and it got in that mindset of meat, then that was going to be it.
Yeah, this is the commercial. It's an awesome commercial. How long ago was this commercial?
I'm not sure.
Quite a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 at least,
right? What does it say? 2013.
Damn, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a dope commercial.
Yeah, and it's cool. The wolf was awesome. I mean, wolves are amazing.
How big was it?
It was tall. I mean, I'd say it's probably 120, 130 pounds, I guess. But they're a lot taller than what you, like, compared to a dog, a normal dog.
How come they don't do more of these commercials?
I don't know.
So the whole idea is that you and the wolf are in competition and that you won out.
Yeah. See, I got the bull and it's mad.
And so that's when it did that growling.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that after it did that, that was it.
You could tell it's got a collar. Back that up a little bit. Back that up a little bit. Look at that.
Yeah. It has, well, it's just it's a little rope, but it had its hair matted down right there.
Yeah.
But it's a little rope.
That's someone's dog, bro.
Yeah.
That's a husky.
No, it was a wolf, but it had a little piece of rope on it.
Have you ever heard the John Dudley story that he told on the podcast?
Yeah.
That's a crazy
being surrounded
story.
by a wolf
Yeah.
or something
Well,
like that.
they fucked up, and it was like that scene in The Gray. They killed an elk, and they didn't realize they killed an elk literally in the wolf's den.
Oh God.
Like where they killed the elk, there was like bones all over the place in the area, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And these wolves circled them and decided that they were going to take the elk.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Where was that?
it was in BC.
BC.
And it was him and a guide, and the guide only had a certain amount of bullets.
Oh.
And he only had a certain amount, because John only uses a 4-arrow quiver.
Yeah.
So John shot the elk with one quiver, or
Yeah,
one
one
arrow
arrow.
from his quiver,
Yeah, 3
and then he had
left.
3 left. And he killed 2 other wolves, and he had 1 arrow left. And they had shot 3 wolves together. And the wolves were running at them. Running
Really?
at them. He killed 2 wolves that were running at him.
Wow.
Yeah. And then one of them, he thinks was the alpha male, was sitting on the top of this ridge, like at about, I think he said about 50, 60 yards, staring at him. And he drew back for that one, and then he took off. And then the whole pack just took off with him. They'd abandoned the situation because they realized what was going on. But when they shot one, he said all the other ones started howling, like they tried to figure out who was dead.
Yeah. Check in.
Yeah, which is crazy. So
Yeah.
like he's basically in
smart.
a weird little war with these wolves, and they were making runs at him.
That would be intense.
Oh my God! He said our back was to a tree,
Wow.
and he goes, the guide only has like a couple of bullets because the guide's bullets are just to scare off grizzlies.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he doesn't want to shoot it; he just wants to scare it. They're not
Right.
hunting grizzlies.
Yeah.
So he brings a couple. I'll just grab a couple bullets, put them in my pocket, and then here they are out in this situation where they're literally getting run up on by a pack of wolves.
Man, that's intense. I couldn't imagine.
It's wild.
Yeah. I've seen what me and Roy, it wasn't our last hunt. It was the hunt before. I was hunting brown bear up in Alaska, and I wanted to kill. In this area, there's so many brown bear, you could kill 2. So I wanted to kill 1 spot and stock, and then hunting a tree, and you can bait them up there because there's so many. And they had just made this legal. So my goal was to hunt both ways. Anyway, I killed a bear on the spot and stock, and we were up in the tree trying to kill another bear. We were on this island, and it was I thought we saw a flash of a bear earlier, and it was getting dark. It's like, well, it gets dark for about an hour and a half at this time of year. This was in July, and so we were just going to stay in the tree the whole time. So we got in there at 7 at night, and we were going to stay till 5 in the morning and just kind of ride out the darkness. And I saw a flash, and I thought we had seen a bear earlier, but it didn't come in. And I thought, oh, the bear's coming back. Turns out it was a wolf, and it's a black wolf, and it came in there. I have it on video. I haven't even shared it yet, but it was a black wolf, and it stopped there at about 20 or 25 yards. And it was just a wild wolf that close was pretty amazing. It's like they're a special animal.
It is. There's something about them because they're so damn smart.
Yeah. It reminds me of that picture, well, the wolf in the picture. I think, did they send you one too? That photographer, the wolf I have in the snow, the black one with his head down.
Yeah.
It reminded me of
at
that
the old
wolf.
studio.
Yeah. Just such an incredible animal. So yeah, I love wolves. I definitely don't think wolves should be wiped out or anything like that. But I just don't think wolves in Colorado that's not a thing we should do.
It's just reintroducing them just sets off a whole chain. I need to talk to somebody. There was a guy that is a pro. He's a biologist, and he's pro wolf reintroduction.
Yeah.
I need to have him on. You want to be on with him?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
It'd be an interesting conversation.
Yeah,
maybe
let's
he
do
could
it.
explain.
Yeah.
There's a great video called How Wolves. I think it's called How Wolves Change Rivers.
Yeah.
You see
yeah,
that?
I've heard about it. Yeah.
Really interesting video about this guy. Talked about the reintroduction of wolves in the 1990s into
In
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, yeah.
Yeah, and about how it's changed the ecosystem for the better.
Yeah.
But then I looked into the guy.
Yeah.
And the guy is...
For the better is...
he's an eccentric character.
yeah.
I'm not saying he's wrong, but he's into what's called rewilding. and he wants to reintroduce wild animals into places, including like the UK. He wants to reintroduce he's like the UK used to have lions and elephants and all these different animals. He wants to see if we could find this gentleman, the guy. The concept is rewilding, and apparently he was like this really depressed guy. He was like urban, doing the normal city thing in England, and got really into the idea of wildlife and reintroducing wildlife.
Yeah, I feel bad for them over there. I mean, no hunting.
Yeah,
I mean, me without hunting.
Well, that's your source of food. It's also what you train for, which when I first met you and I was like, why does this guy train so hard? Like, what is he doing? And then you're like, oh, I train for bow hunting. I'm like, what? Like, what is happening when you bow hunt? Like, what, are you in a race? Like, what's going on? And then the first time you took me, I was like, okay, I get it. Fuck, you have to be in like really crazy shape to pull this off.
Well, you don't have to, but here, what I know is like when hunting, and you know how it is now, you've done it for years, but in the mountains, there's so many, you can get up and down the mountains, you can get around elk, but there's so many decisions that you have to make, and it's related on performance. So the higher level of performance, the better decisions you're going to make. I mean, like on these last hunts, I pretty much have an arrow knocked. I killed 2 bulls this year and a buck and a bear. I've had an arrow knocked pretty much all day, ready to go. And that can be fatiguing. Yeah. Just this walking around slowly is tiring. So when you're at a heightened level for
8 hours
or more, 15 hours on some days, and you're covering distance, and it's like, I want to be ready at all times for anything that happens. So I have an arrow knocked and I am ready. So like to do that, it's exhausting. If I didn't train the way I do, I couldn't do that. So who knows what that would result in as far as success. But people don't realize that I mean, you know what it's like when you're hunting. It's like almost, yoga poses all day, essentially. I've heard people describe it as. Yeah. And because you're going so slow and so controlled, and every footstep is controlled and
just freezing. Like if you're in a situation and an elk sees you and you have to freeze and you're holding your bow in your hand, you don't realize how damn heavy that thing is.
And they don't have anywhere to go.
And they'll just stand there.
They have nothing to do other than not let whatever they're unsure about kill them.
And their vision is based on edge detection, right?
I don't know.
I think it's based on they see you movement. That's why camo works. Yeah. Because if you're standing there, they don't say, "Oh, there's a dude in camo." Mm-hmm. They see the pattern and they see the edges. As long as you don't move, right? They don't see anything funky.
Movement. They definitely pick up movement.
When they see movement with the edge detection, like moving edges, like this edge is moving towards that edge, like what is that? Yeah. But if you just stand still, right. But if you got that bow in your hand, you're like, "Fuck, I don't know, I can hold it like this," and you've got your bow out like this, and you're trying to hold it steady. Like you got maybe a minute, 2 minutes in you before that fucker starts to shake, and then the elk is like, whoop!
Yeah,
and then
barking. Yeah. And so you quickly realize when doing hunts like that what being in shape means.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I learned. Like last year, I thought I was in pretty good shape until I went up there with you. And I was like, God, that one hill that we went up to get the bull that we wind up getting, fuck, that was hard. And to get up there, and then the only good thing is I was in good enough shape that even though I was exhausted, I got my heart rate back quick. Yeah, it recovered. And then I could. It wasn't like I was beaten down once I got up there.
Yeah, because you still have to. We had to get the wind right to get up the hill. Yeah, essentially what it was, and that recovery is all related to how good a shape you're in.
That thing that we had last year, I mean, I don't know if we ever played the clip, but that moment that we had up there was one of the wildest elk hunting moments. I don't know, I haven't been elk hunting for that long. Mm-hmm. That was the wildest thing I'd ever experienced.
When you killed your bull?
There was, how many bulls were up there?
Like 9.
Just screaming. It was like, blah,
we'd pass some bulls, but there was 9 just on that one little hillside. Yeah. It was like, it's what I would call a rut fest. Yeah. So there must have been some hot cows in there. Those bulls were coming in. They can smell a hot cow, which means the cow in estrus. So she's ready to breed. Ovulating, I guess, is what you'd say for a human. But so she was in estrus. Means she's a hot cow. I mean, those bulls are like, okay. I mean, bulls kill each other.
Yeah.
They kill each other all the time fighting.
Well, tell the story about the one bull that you shot that you thought was in its bed, but was actually dead.
Yes. Yeah. No. So I snuck up and I saw this bull, and its head was, I don't know. I mean, they get exhausted, so they can lay their head down a little bit and rest. I mean, middle of the day, they up all night rutting, chasing, fighting. So I saw this bull bedded, and it was a big bull, and I'm like, God, I don't know. I mean, it's not moving, but I don't know. Might as well. We've got to make sure. So I took my boots off and I started sneaking in. And I got to about 20 some yards, and I'm like, I don't know, but I don't want to be wrong. So I shot the bull, never moved. And it was already dead. It'd been killed the night before. It took a tine in the neck, it looked like.
Wow.
And it was dead from fighting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, if it got killed the night before, can you salvage the meat?
I don't think so. I mean, it didn't look good.
Was it hot? It was a hot day?
Yeah, it was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
I know. That's life in the wild.
It is life in the wild. Yeah. It's we stumbled across one that had been killed, had been poked in the side, but it had been quite a while ago, and it was rotten. It smelled terrible.
This one, I'm guessing it was the night before. It wasn't that long, but the meat had turned.
You realize that, those antlers on their head, that's not just for looks.
No.
That's their weapons of war.
No. This kid, Wes, on the last hunt that I just did in Colorado, he had some good footage of bulls fighting. Oh my God, dude, they're getting after it.
It's wild.
Yeah. It's that's what makes it, between that being, they're so aggressive. And then the sounds they make, if people haven't heard them, if you hear a bull bugle at 20 or 30 yards, you can't believe how loud that is. Then you couple that with the antlers and the size of them and their aggressive nature, and they're coming, you can hear them coming through the trees and shit's breaking. And as a hunter, you're sitting there and it's a lot to absorb. It's a lot. I saw somebody yesterday commented that they've been practicing at 20 yards on a target, and it's so small compared to a bull elk. And it's like, that must look like a house at 20 yards. How could you miss? And I'm like, well, people shoot over the back of bulls all the time at 20 yards because it's so intense.
Yeah,
They
if you
just
have
panic.
never experienced it, the
Yeah.
screaming alone, it's like when you're near it,
Yeah.
they sound like something from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
What an animal, man. I mean,
Oh.
they have everything going for them.
They do.
The looks, the crazy antlers, the delicious meat, the crazy sounds they make, the
Yeah.
wild places that they live,
Yeah.
and the romantic but short life that they live.
Yeah.
They live this wild, crazy, short life running away from mountain lions and bears and wolves and trying to get laid.
Yeah.
And then fighting other elk to the death with swords that grow out of your head.
Sounds like the life I want to live.
No, I'd rather be the bow hunter.
Oh.
Sleep in a nice place, and even if it's just a tent,
Yeah.
someplace with a sleeping bag, nice
Shelter.
little pillow.
I know. Yeah. We'll get up and do this again tomorrow.
Yeah,
They're
drink
out.
out of a cooler.
Meanwhile, they're out there surviving
Yeah.
all night. Never lets up.
To me, it's my one of my favorite parts of the year is just the reset of just experiencing the woods, the real wilderness.
Yeah.
Like where we're going in Utah in the mountains. What's that mountain range called?
Is it the Unitas or Unitas or something like that?
Whatever it is. It's a gorgeous mountain range.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, and it just reminds you, of what life must have been like before human beings ever existed, before they ever came to this part of the world. And just walking around with those animals, it's a reset. It's a real reset.
Yeah.
And every time I eat that meat, I think about those moments.
I know that connection, and we talk about it, I mean, ad nauseum probably, but that feeling.
Look at that. God, that's
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah.
Unita. Unta? How do you say it?
I don't know.
Try it. Winta? Who is that? A Native American word? Winta?
I'm not sure.
Who made that word up? Why'd they put those letters together like that?
I'm not sure.
But that is what it looks like. That's
Yeah.
part of what it looks like.
Yeah.
Really looks like the
Yeah,
like that right there. That's super. Yeah, that's super familiar to me.
Yeah.
So gorgeous.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And we'll hike we'll start where you see the beginning at the bottom of the screen, and we'll go all the way to that far mountain range.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're If you're out of shape,
Yeah.
it's a rough go of it.
You're just going to take a lot of shortcuts like into your decision making and make a lot of poor decisions.
Yeah.
And chances are you're not going to. I mean, you can kill. People kill all the time. I see it all the time. Look, this guy killed and he doesn't run a marathon a day or whatever that people
No,
want
you
to
can
say.
get lucky.
Yeah, you can. But if you're going to have sustained success for decades, multiple times a year, you're going to have to be at your best.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
And I got to think that a guy like you who does ultra marathons and all this crazy working out, there has to be something to what you're eating. There has to be.
Yeah.
The fact that you're eating all this wild game is that your diet is like, how much of your diet's meat?
Oh, probably, I would say 40%.
Just 40?
Yeah, 40 to 50.
What's the rest of it?
Carbs like potatoes and rice and fruits and vegetables.
Just think about how much wild game you consume and how protein rich that is, and how like that dark red meat that you get from these animals, like how good that is for you.
Yeah.
That has to have some sort of an effect on your physical abilities. Because one of the things that people always marvel at with you is like, how the fuck does this guy do so many things? Like, how do you have the time to get up in the morning? I mean, there's been many times you've run a marathon a day. I know people are hearing this, oh, this guy's full of shit. No. A marathon a day. You've run multiple marathons in a day. You've done days where you got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, more than one day, where you ran a marathon and then went to work.
Yeah.
Or you've run 18, 19 miles, went to work, and then finished the marathon off during your lunch break. And then you'll go lift weights. And then you shoot your bow, or you shoot your bow, and then you lift weights. And, like, it has to play a factor. I know there's just overall endurance and discipline and the fact that you've just always given yourself this hard workload and your body's adapted to it. I'm sure that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're not injured all the time and the fact that you have all this energy, I gotta think that wild game plays a big factor in all that.
I would think. I mean, I eat wild game every day, every single day. And I know that has to help me recover. But I think aside from that, I think as humans, we're capable of so many amazing things. And it's like, that's why the people who you've had on this podcast that I've like been obsessed with connecting with, because they're humans just like we are, but they do incredible. It's like, how can the same species of whatever, so humans just like everybody else walking around here, do such amazing things? And I want to connect. I always want to connect with those people like Goggins, Courtney DeWalter, been running with Emma Coburn lately. She's a Olympic steeplechaser. She won the bronze at the last Olympic. I'm thinking she's going to win the gold at this Olympics this coming year. So I try to think, well, how can they do that? They're the same species as we all are. There must be something. Courtney's the toughest person I've ever been around. I've been around some tough people, but her mental toughness is unlike anything you've ever seen. And
It's weird too.
I've
because
said-
she seems so nice and normal.
She is, but she's couldn't get more. You couldn't find a more sweet person. But I've said this before, where a dog will run itself to death. I took that picture right there.
What is this? It says, we estimate I slept fewer than 4 hours during my 105 hours on the Colorado Trail. Is a combination of 1-minute trail naps and longer attempts in the RV, and sometimes they happen by accident during a group sunrise photo. Weekend at Bernie's anyway, so she just passed out while she was doing this.
Yeah,
Less than ideal overall sleep time, but during the later days, the coughing and the wheezing preventing me from being able to fall asleep.
Yeah, so
Sleep
that
game needs major work. Explain this whole thing that she was trying to accomplish.
Right. Go to that one Weekend at Bernie's. Yeah. So right here. So we stopped with the sun coming up to take a picture, and she'd been going for 105 hours, what is that, over 4 days, and slept for 4 hours. So we stopped to take a picture, and she fell asleep. I mean, just passed out. But right after this picture, she's up running. So that other picture on the trail that I took with her and Maggie.
Like a lot of people will look at this and they'll say, what kind of a human wants to do this?
This was a 3-minute nap right here. So it was going to be 3 minutes or maybe 6 minutes, but sun had just come up, and incidentally, I just seen a big group of bucks in the dark about 2 hours earlier, about I think 3 a.m. This is probably about 5 a.m. But I laid my pack on her legs there and my coat's on her legs. She's the closest one. Maggie's the second one. Who Maggie, in her own right, she won the it's called Big's Backyard Ultra, where they run 4 miles every hour for as long as you can do it. Get 4 miles on. And she won it last year. Courtney, the year before, was the first woman. Anyway, so these women are insane. But they took 3-minute naps or a 6-minute nap right here, then back up, and that resets your body. I mean, it reset. It's like a Control-Alt-Delete. So before this, Courtney was like so exhausted from all this. Maggie would ask a question, and she'd answer barely audibly 2 minutes later. And so it was me, or Courtney, then me, then Maggie. And Maggie would say something to Courtney. Nothing. 2 minutes later, she'd like, I could barely hear it. She'd answer whatever Maggie said because her brain was like, they said her oxygen level in her brain was at 70%, which that was because of the coughing and the lung issues and the high altitude and the dust and everything. So her brain wasn't working like
Let's
it should.
explain what she was trying to do.
Yeah, she was trying to. The fastest known time to run the entire Colorado Trail from Durango to Denver is 8 days and something like 2 hours, I think. She wanted to beat that by a day. So she was trying to run 490 miles from Durango to Denver with 90,000 feet of elevation gain total in 7 days. And to do that, I mean, you can't sleep is, I don't know what the perfect answer is. She was about 22 hours, I think, at one point ahead of the record. Jeez. But she ended up in the emergency room just because she pushed so hard. What I was going to say is animals will push.
Look how fucked up she looks.
Yeah.
She looks so tired.
Yeah.
Look at her eyes.
I know.
She just looks exhausted.
Yeah, so that her pulse oxygen was 70, which it's supposed to be in the 90s. And if it's at 80 or 85, they say go immediately to the emergency room, to the doctor. And hers was at 70. So her brain just wasn't getting enough oxygen. And I believe the doctor said that, because they said, well, what would happen if she keeps pushing? And he said, well, she'll die on the trail. So...
Well, that's the problem with someone who's that tough.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
They literally could push themselves to the point where their heart stops.
And animals do that. We know that. A dog will push itself. A horse will push itself so hard that they will die.
Not my dog.
No, your dog will.
I throw a ball from 4 or 5 times in a row, and he drops the ball and lays down. He's like, bro, we're done.
Yeah. Right. So some dogs.
Yeah.
My dog, like Cash would, he's a lab, and all he wants to do, he'll do that till he dies. Right. So, and horses do that. Horses die a lot, or not a lot, but horses die from pushing. So most humans have that self-preservation mode where, I mean, most humans, that like the hint of discomfort,
yes,
I'm out.
Yeah.
So, but Courtney has that where, I don't know.
Well, goals are interesting because goals are what force you to pass your comfort zone and go into this crazy level where you realize you're only tapping into a very small percentage of what your body's capable of. Mm-hmm. Like even Goggins, what is his quote? That most people quit at 40%.
40%, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's 100% accurate there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm throwing percentages around here. 40%, 100%.
It sounds good.
But I mean, anybody knows, he knows, right?
Yeah.
But there's a thing that you do when you tap into, like when you have a goal, when you say, I'm going to run 10 miles a day and I'm going to keep doing, like my friend Lex Friedman, the scientist, MIT guy.
Yeah.
He was on the podcast last week. One of the things that he was talking about was he did this challenge where he ran, was it 4 miles every 4 hours
He did 2 challenges.
Yeah.
But that was the first one he did earlier in the year. Before it was 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
Yeah.
Or 40 miles, whatever it was.
And just talking about it.
I think Goggins
Yeah.
Goggins set that up.
Yeah. Yeah, him and Goggins are friends.
Yeah, okay.
And then there was some crazy push-up, sit-up, pull-up challenge that they did as well. And Goggins said, "Whatever you do, I'm gonna do double."
Yeah.
Which is just a nice little mind fuck when you're falling apart and you realize that Goggins is doing twice what you're doing. But
I love him.
there's something about a goal like that where you set it in motion and you realize you have to do it, where it forces you out of your comfort zone. It forces you to realize what your body's actually capable of, which most people just never do. That's one of the great things about making someone compete. Like, that's a great thing about training for a marathon or getting ready to do something, is like when you have a goal and then you actually, and then you're committed to the thing and you actually have to go and do it, then and only then do you often find out what your body's actually capable of.
Yeah. And still, even during that goal or that performance, it's really hard to push. I mean, push and give all you got. I remember my kids, I would say, "Did you give all you got?" "Yeah." I go, "Well, I didn't see, you weren't throwing up. You didn't throw up at the end." You know, it's like when you push, I don't even, I mean, it's not like I can say I do that every time either, but it's like, who really pushes with all they got?
Well, and what is that line? Like,
Yeah.
what's after that line? Do you die?
I don't know.
And would you be happy if you pushed so hard that you died? Like, well, this is a
Yeah.
good way to die.
Well, no, but then you know you gave your all.
That's
But isn't that so? That's what fascinates me
Yeah.
with these people, with the Goggins and Courtney and you know, also in some respects Emma is like performing at this level, and it's just incredible to me.
Yeah.
It's like, so I want to know, how can I take whatever mindset they have, apply it to myself in what I do. So that's all I've tried to do is like, and I've said a million times, I'm definitely not talented. I spend time around people who are the best at what they do, and hoping a little bit I can pick up a little bit, get that mindset. Like Goggins flips that switch. Courtney just has no switch. It's just
what
how she
is talent? I want to know what that is. Like, what, when you say you're not talented, because you're obviously very successful at both as a bow hunter, you're probably, I mean, if there's 3 top bow hunters on the planet Earth, you're in that top. I don't know how many people are the best bow hunters on Earth, but in my mind, you're in that group. What is talent? Like, if you're that good at bow hunting, and I've seen you shoot targets 150 yards away and shoot balloons. I mean, you've seen you do some ridiculous shit. You're obviously incredibly talented with a bow. Like, what is talent? What does that mean to you when you say I'm not talented?
To me, I always equate talent to physical, like performance. Like, say, running 100 meters or
Like
jump.
a freak athlete.
Yeah.
Okay.
I equate talent to athleticism.
Right. Like a Mike Tyson or Paulo Costa.
Yeah.
Like some just freak athlete.
Or runners. I mean, runners, there's
right.
like we've
Usain Bolt.
We've been running since the beginning of time.
Right.
If you're one of the fastest humans to ever run,
You have to be talented.
that's talent.
Yeah, there's things that people get that you are never going to get. Right? There's a certain amount of speed people can generate, a certain amount of power people can generate. There's things that people can do. But the kind of things that you're doing, it's not required. It just requires mental strength. You're doing endurance runs, or these long ass mind torture runs. They don't require that sprinting shit. They just require that ability to keep going when you don't want to keep going.
Right.
The ability to maintain a pace that's painful.
Right. Yeah. And I was talking to because after my hunt in Colorado, I went and ran with Courtney. We did a 14,000 foot peak. And then I ran with Emma the next day, and 2 totally different athletes. Courtney's, the 7 days, crazy. Emma's the 3,000 meters. And I was talking to them both about pain, because Courtney's pain isn't as intense, but it's for a week, or days. Emma's pain, she wants to break 9 minutes in the steeplechase. She never has. 9:02 is her best, I believe. And she'll have to break 9 minutes probably to win the gold medal.
What's a steeplechase?
That's 3,000 meters, and it has the barrier, like the water barrier. So you jump over barriers, and then there's a water barrier too. Have you ever seen them jump over?
I don't think I've ever seen a steeplechase.
Look up Emma.
Here it is. This is it right here?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
her.
wow. So you
That's
jump
her.
over water. Damn, look how much air she gets.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that's her. So it's like, so she's she has 9 minutes. And you can see her, like, there's a good video of her winning the world championships, Emma Coburn World Championship.
So the steeplechase thing, the water, you have to jump over the water? What if you land in the water?
They land in the water.
That's okay?
Yeah.
Just slows you down?
They can't really clear that water, so they plan on running and landing in the water.
What a weird thing to have a puddle in your run.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, so that's right. And she's taller than like those the other girls.
Oh, so
they're usually from Ethiopia or Kenya.
What a weird event. You make them jump over a fence into a pond.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre. I never knew this existed. How did I go this long?
Here's another one. Yeah. So some don't have the water, like just have that barrier there. And I think there's 4 per lap.
How many people eat shit jumping over that barrier?
Where'd she go?
She's in front, I think.
Oh,
Look at her.
Yeah.
Hustle.
Oh, I know.
Look at them legs. Damn. She's got some
she,
length.
She can. So anyway, so she's got 9 minutes of pain. And I was asking her about, because there's always a decision. Like I watched her run this mile race, and she was kind of in back with about a lap to go. And there's always that decision, like, do I want to go now and have it hurt really bad, or just kind of, it wasn't my day? Like, how do you decide to deal with that pain? And so that's what I was asking her about, because that's what fascinates me.
And what'd she say? She did it at 9:19. So she's got it down to 9:02.
Yeah, she's at 9:02 is her best now.
God damn.
I know.
Look at all those ladies are beaten down at the end of that. That looks so exhausting.
So painful. Yeah, so she's from this little town, Crested Butte in Colorado, and that's where I went and ran with her. And it's that's 9,000 feet.
What was her answer to that?
To
like
the pain,
deciding.
She's just her brain is so focused in on that time, that 9 minutes, where it's just like, and so it's just, she knows that if she pushes now, it's only going to last this amount of time. It's just, this is what she's got to do. This is how it works. She's been doing it her whole life. And so it's just push through. So like if she's so regimented on time from doing track her whole life, she'll like say, well, can you meet me at 10? And then we can get coffee and till about 10:20, and then we should be able to get to the mountain by about 10:30, and then we can run and we should be done. I mean, like everything is like so regimented because her brain works like that. So when she thinks about that pain, I think she just knows that it's going to be this certain amount of time and then it's going to be over. And this is what she does. So it's different than, say, a Courtney who's not going to, it won't be as intense because, with sprinting when you're exhausted, it just hurts.
Right.
It's so easy to be like, that's what I was asking her about. Because when I watched her run the mile, that's not her event. Her event is 3,000 meters, which is more than a mile. So I said, you could easily said, well, this isn't my event. You made that decision whether to go and pass all these other girls and win, or just be like, it wasn't my night, this isn't my event, whatever, and just a little bit less.
This is where she takes the lead just as you're talking. So you can see.
So this decision on, should I go or should I stay right here where it's comfortable? This feels good. I mean, it's still hard. It's still an effort, but it's not the pain like going. So when you make when you make this decision, she almost went right there, but didn't. See that? So when you make that decision, I think this is a world championships.
Yeah, this was that race we just watched, but this is the full race.
No.
So you hang back knowing.
This isn't
what it said.
No, I don't.
No. Sorry,
that was 2014. This is so watch this. She passes right here. This is a world championships. Going over this water, that girl in the middle didn't go over good. Emma did. Ooh. And right here, so she's turning it on. But now it's, now the finish line is there. But see how controlled and like fluid she is? And this is so fast.
God damn. And so she went on that crazy run with you and Courtney as well?
No.
What was she doing?
They're two different athletes. No.
She didn't run that? Like she was sleeping up there with you guys, right?
No.
Did she crash?
No, that was Maggie.
Oh, Maggie.
Yeah.
And she's
an ultra. This is Emma Coburn.
Emma, Maggie. Those are such white girl names. I just conflate them all together in my head.
Yeah, no, Emma lives in Crested Butte. So I met Courtney in Leadville, and that's we ran Mount Sherman, which is 14,000 feet. So I met her at 4 p.m, Courtney and her husband, Kevin. And we did this big 11-mile loop, and we did a 14,000 foot peak. And then I stayed there and at their house. And then the next morning I got up and drove and met Emma in Crested Butte, which is another small town in Colorado, and it's high altitude. And that's where Emma grew up and her parents live. And so I met her there the next day, and we ran, I don't know, shorter distance, but she runs so much faster, 5 miles or whatever. But for me, running 5 miles at 10,000 feet with her at that pace, it's like,
she's got some length too.
Oh yeah.
How tall is she?
I would say 5'7".
But her legs are so long.
Yeah.
And when she's running, she got that crazy long stride.
Yeah. And she's run trails there at 10,000 feet or 9,000 feet. And it's just like that training, and to go over those barriers, you have to be athletic.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a different explosive
she's
move.
more athletic than, say, the girls from Kenya.
Right.
They're smaller. Kenya's high elevation too. So, but if Emma lives at that same elevation, has the same talent.
Fastest mile ever run on Colorado soil, running 4:32.7.
Yeah, that's the one
Emma?
that's the one I watched. That's where I said she was in. Yeah, she was at the back, and then I said that decision you made to turn it on. No, that's not it.
Oh, this was just the video for running the fastest mile.
Oh.
Just a slow motion version of it.
Oh yeah, I think this was a couple years ago. She just broke that outside.
Oh, so this is the indoor version of it, and then she broke it outside.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just was interested in how that decision is made.
Now, when you talk to her about her training, how much of her training is just running, and how much of her training is like strength and conditioning? Does she do plyometrics? Does she? Because she's got to not just run; she's got to jump over things.
Yeah, she runs every day. Usually, I think she runs about 70 or 80 miles a week when she's training, and so it'll be about 10 miles a day, split up a couple times, and then she'll lift, I believe, 3 times a week. And so we lifted together too, and it's just. She's strong, definitely strong.
Oh, you have to be.
Yeah.
You could see it in her legs, like in the fact that she's able to get over those hurdles while she's in the middle of this crazy run.
Yeah.
Whew.
Well, a 4:30 mile, fast.
There's something also so crazy about your goal in life, like what you do. The thing that you concentrate on the most is your physical body. Mm-hmm. Like you're banking on this. You're banking on your tissue.
Who is humans?
Any human that does that.
Yeah,
Whether
yeah.
you're a fighter or a baseball player or a
Right.
runner, there's something crazy about banking on your body. Like I always, when I look at professional athletes in particular, I'm always like, ooh, like boy, anything can go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, and then it takes forever to fix. It's not like you blow out a tire. You go to the car shop and you go to the tire place. You get a new tire.
Yeah.
You blow out a knee.
That's been the only secret to any success I've had is that longevity.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who've been better than me for short spans. But if you can just keep doing it,
Keep grinding,
keep hammering, I don't care what it is, you're going to get good.
Yeah, that is the case. How do you avoid injuries? Because you train so much.
I get massage and
You do those Normatec boots? Still doing that?
I got those. Yeah, thank you.
I sent you those.
You sent those to me.
Those things are the shit.
Yeah, the Hypervolt, the hammer with the ball on it. That
Massage.
Yeah. Do that with Eric. Comes over about 3 times a week. You trained with Eric too,
Yep.
and goes through, breaks down my hamstrings and calves and hips especially. So,
Dude, I had a lady that was giving me a massage, and I had a Theragun. And I wound up just having her just use the Theragun. Like she was giving me a massage and it was great and everything, but there was this like one spot in my back. And I was like, just try this for a second.
And that worked?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like half the massage session was just her jackhammering me. Just working me with that. And it was more effective than anything. Because you could do something with those things where you can push all the weight in like a massage, but it's doing something that you're not going to be able to do with your hands.
Right. There's this girl who does my massage. Her name's Erin. She is so amazing. I can say something that's bothering me. She can go, like, feel my leg, go right to it and just feel it.
She just knows where the knots are.
And then she'll do something else on some other side or some other place. And it's like, I've had a lot of massages. Definitely there's, just like we say, there's levels to everything.
Yeah.
She's amazing. I mean,
some people just understand bodies. They're intuitive. Like they know where you're tight and where you have strain. Like, did you pull your hamstring? Did you do this?
Yeah.
Like, do you have something going on with your back? Like, what do you mean? Like, this side is tight, so you're probably compensating for something that's on the other side. Then
yeah.
So
the only way you're going to over 10, 20, 30 years to continue to do it is for maintenance, is taking care of your body. You say it is tissue, it is muscle, it is have joints and ligaments. If something happens with those, you're training. Then
you've never even had any operations, have you? That's bananas.
No.
I've had a bunch. I'm amazed.
Well,
how are your knees okay? That's the other thing. How the fuck are your knees okay?
I don't know. People ask me that all the time. I was like, how do you answer that?
I mean, have you gotten an MRI? You don't have any meniscus problems? Nothing?
No.
That's bananas.
No, I mean,
you're my age.
Yeah.
You've been running forever. You don't have any meniscus. I have all fucked up meniscus.
But you also did a sport that was hard on your knees.
Yeah.
Right.
But running isn't?
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I have good genetics.
Yeah, you obviously must.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was pretty good with my right knee until like I heard it in a kicking contest with Joe Schilling. I tore my meniscus like a year ago, like a moron.
At the old studio?
Yeah, kicking that machine. We had the registers, how hard you kick.
Yeah. You did it then?
With jeans on.
I know. I remember seeing the video.
Yeah, no warm up. 52 years old, slamming into that thing at full clip as hard as I can.
Yeah.
But that's a problem when something shows you a number.
Yeah.
Bing,
Oh, I know.
Bing,
It's immeasurable.
And you just wind up.
It's immeasurable.
But to wind up like that, if I was coaching someone, I'd say, stop. You got to warm up. Let's jump rope. Let's get a sweat.
Yeah.
Let's get going. Stretch out a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's start slow. Like when I work out on a normal day, I don't just walk up to a heavy bag and full blast, start kicking it. I build up.
But you can't have a contest with Joe Schilling and say, hold on, let me warm up
Exactly.
first.
He's too much of a hard man.
Yeah.
We had to step up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tear your knee.
Yeah, my knee's still fucked up.
Is
I mean,
it?
it's not fucked up to the point where I can't do things. Like I can still kick.
Yeah.
I can still run. I can still do all those things, but I feel it where I didn't used to feel it before. But that's why I'm amazed that you don't have any of these kind of injuries.
No. I don't know.
I remember you had a fucked up foot at one point in time.
Oh, I have there's injuries, there's being hurt and being injured. You know, I hurt all the time. I hurt every day, but I haven't been injured.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Are you taking CBD at all?
Yeah, sometimes.
Dude, I was getting arthritis in my toes. Yeah.
And did it help?
In my big toes.
Yeah.
My big toes, like at the joint where my foot meets my big toe. It was very annoying.
Yeah.
And it's from kicking, just from, because you're always like pushing off.
Oh, right.
Pushing off.
Yeah.
And my toes just got so tired of me doing that, and they were getting sore. And then I started doubling and tripling down on CBD, particularly like CBD gummies. That's my new trick, because it's like I'm eating candy.
Oh.
Those CBD MD gummies are like 1,500 milligrams. I just chuck like fucking 10 of them down at a time.
Do they have the THC in them?
No, none.
Oh,
Zero.
really?
Zero high at all. But it killed it. Like whatever, like I was like, God damn it, am I going to have to get some? I was thinking I was going to have to get PRP or something done to my big toe.
And that helped it.
Killed it. I don't have any problem with it at all. Now it's whatever it was gone away. Dave Foley told me the same thing. Dave Foley told me he was getting serious arthritis in his hands, where his hands were like this. He couldn't open up his fingers. Started taking CBD on a daily basis, and then now his hands are fully functional. Like whatever it was, he stopped in his tracks. It's just inflammation. You know?
Right. Yeah, I saw. Well, when Trump and Biden get here, you're going to do the DMT question, right?
Oh, well, I'm going to get them high first. Both of them are going to get high. We're going to do mushrooms. I'm going to bring in a shaman.
There was that Babylon Bee that I showed you today. Yeah. They did have a thing that said, like, Trump was on here for an epic 7-hour interview with Rogan and said had the best marijuana possibly he's ever had. It was like tremendous, or you know how Trump has these things. But yeah, it was so funny.
Amazing pot. Can you imagine getting that guy high?
He doesn't even drink,
no,
does he?
I don't think so.
Oh, this is it. Yeah,
That's it.
see?
That's the picture. That's a great picture.
It is. But what was the caption, Jamie? Can you find that? What did it say? Oh my God, it's hilarious. Yeah,
Chose to lively 7-hour interview with Joe Rogan. Imagine.
yeah.
Imagine how many votes he would win if he did that. Well, I bet a lot. I bet he'd lose a lot too.
Yeah.
People are like, "What is happening? You need some more of that? I'll have.
I don't know.
Want some more coffee?
There might be a little bit.
We can get some more.
Okay.
Put the order in. Yeah, that guy. He's not taking anything but perhaps a few uppers to help with speeches. You see with the Biden thing, Trump said he wanted to do a drug test before debates.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What does he think Biden's on?
Oh, they got him hopped up on something.
Really?
Yeah. If you're that tired,
Yeah.
I guarantee you they're doing something with him.
Him talking. Oh my God, it's painful. I mean, it's like I feel embarrassed.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad, and then there's the tremendous pressure that's involved in that job.
Yeah.
I mean,
I couldn't imagine.
No.
I mean, not being at your best.
No.
That's what I've always been. I just don't get how there's these people who have been in politics for 50 years. And I'm like, okay, good job. Thank you. You did it. You served whoever. But isn't there somebody better? I mean, smarter, younger, like more energized? Why do we have these 80-year-old guys?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, there's got to be people who are just like on the top of their game. You can't be at the top of your game when you're 80.
You got to wonder, like, what it is with the powers that be that decided to go with him. Did they think that he's a known name, a former vice president, so that brings him to? But there was obviously some shenanigans because they were really worried about Bernie Sanders taking the nomination. They were really worried that he was going to enact some radical change to the Democratic Party, and they were not looking forward to that at all. So they stepped in, got Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar and all those other people to back out, to back down, and then all the delegates went to Biden, and then Biden winds up being the guy, and you almost feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, I mean, that can't be our best option for running. I mean, so whoever wins, you want to feel confident. You know? And I know people on the other side of where I am don't feel confident in Trump.
I think they're banking on Harris. They're banking on people saying, well, she's young and healthy. She'll take over.
She is young. I mean, so it goes to that point of being young and, energetic. But, I mean, she's kept a lot of people in jail.
Yeah.
I don't know. Man, politics, what a mess.
It's gross. It's gross. And I don't know what the best way to do it is. I think our founding fathers had some pretty brilliant ideas.
How were they so dialed in so long ago?
It's amazing.
To know they write this Constitution not to protect the government from the people, the people from the government from overstepping. How did they know? I mean, maybe because it was the king and queen. And
yeah, I think they saw people had an understanding of psychology back then, of just human beings and just the natural tendency of people to abuse power and to abuse influence. And I think they just came out with a really brilliant way to sort of have checks and balances to keep that from getting completely out of hand.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really is amazing if you stop and think about that,
And how old, there's this young man, Madison Cawthorn. I think he's like I don't know. I can't remember what seat he won, but one of the youngest to ever win an election. I think it's in North Carolina. But he mentioned something about the age of,
The Jefferson?
Yeah, like how old were they?
People didn't live that long.
I know,
then.
but
they got like toothaches and died.
Right? Were they in their 20s?
I wonder. Let's Google. How old was Thomas Jefferson when he drafted the Declaration of Independence? How old do you think he is?
It's close to 40, I believe.
Close to 40. Still pretty amazing.
Yeah, or maybe. Maybe.
What if you go back and you actually look at him and he looks exactly like Jared Kushner? Wait.
Everybody does.
It's him.
Hold on a second. An age in 1776, Thomas Jefferson was 33.
Wow.
So young.
And fucking smart as shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think some of those guys were in their 20s.
40, 53, 46, 39, 35, 70 years old.
Who's 70?
Benjamin Franklin.
Wow.
Holy shit. He had to be eating wild game meat.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a 30-year-old.
Well, he got electrocuted a bunch of times, right?
26.
He had
There
a
was
kite.
a 26-year-old lawyer.
Who is 26?
Jared
lawyer,
Kushner.
Thomas Lynch Jr. from South Carolina.
Okay, see?
He died 3 years later.
He died 3 years later. Yeah, the stress of coming up with that fucking information.
No,
Another 26-year-old from South Carolina, lawyer, plantation owner.
No, he had COVID.
No, he had a
Edward
toothache.
Rutledge.
Wow.
That's
Well,
it.
no,
Yeah, two
they're
26-year-olds.
counting his death as COVID, guaranteed.
Yeah, it is really amazing at how smart they were.
Yeah.
But, when you read, like, letters from, like, the Civil War era, if you read letters back home, like, the way people wrote back then was so eloquent.
Yeah.
At least the ones that obviously, there's probably some
Right.
morons that wrote some fucking scribbles, too.
Yeah.
But there were some letters that were written back then where the prose is it's so elegant, it's so
Yeah.
well written, so beautifully crafted, these letters that they would write.
I know.
And you get to read them. You go, well, what has happened between then and now?
I'd like to get letters like that. I mean, that would be, you'd feel special if you got a letter like that. God, I know.
The way they communicated back then was just different.
Do
Our
you think people would have spiced up how they wrote just in case they'd know it wasn't going to be personal correspondence? They would want people to think they're dumb, so they would add in some. They'd like spice
But
it
the
up
problem
or-
is when a dummy writes things and tries to make them seem smart. Have you ever gotten an email from someone that's dumb that tries to be
they
smart?
just would have someone else write it for them back then. Like, hey, I can't write this, but write a letter to my girlfriend, make it sound good.
Yeah,
Tell her I miss her. Send it off.
perhaps.
I'm just wondering because people do that now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. They have
So
ghost
would they have
writers.
done it back then?
we're a little more diabolical now, though.
I wonder if there was like a market for ghostwriters back then for letters back home.
Had to be because there's only so many people that could write,
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I'm just
I don't
saying,
know about
like,
that.
or even the access to the tools to write and
But a
quill?
feather?
to make it look good.
I
File it
wonder.
through
Yeah.
Paper.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just wonder.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think people it was a harder time. And during harder times, people are more disciplined. And people that are more disciplined probably they're harder on their children about learning and grades. This probably wasn't so flippant because it's like the consequences of not succeeding in life back then were literal starvation. It was a different time. And I think when you have those consequences, you develop stronger people. You develop people with they don't have any room for error. There's no you can't fuck off.
No.
You won't make it.
No. I know. It's pretty amazing to think that we're still going by the doctrine they came up with.
Amazing.
You know,
and it's the best one we have. Like no one's come up with a better doctrine.
Where is your pocket? Didn't Tim
Yes,
Kennedy
he
give
did.
you a pocket?
It's at home.
cut?
I have it framed.
You don't have it with you?
No, it's in my pocket. It's gonna get like gum
you
on it and
need
shit.
to reference it.
It'll get scratched up. A pen will leak on it. I can't have that.
Okay.
I need it.
I
at
thought
home.
that was a good gift, and he gave you
Yeah.
a gun. That's cool.
Yeah, Jamie's been shooting everybody. That's all he does now.
Well, that's what people with guns do.
That's what I've been hearing.
It's just open
Joe Biden's
season.
gonna put a stop to that.
Oh my God.
Well, I was watching some video where he was talking about making gun manufacturers responsible for shootings. It was the weirdest analogy that he was drawing, and then he went on and erroneously said that guns kill 150 million people a year, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's or 150 million people since a certain amount of time. That doesn't make any sense at all. But the thing that he was saying was that imagine if drug companies weren't responsible for people dying of drugs. Well, hey, Joe, they're not.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that, but they're not. I mean, do you know how many people die every year from drug overdoses?
I don't.
How many? A lot. How
Yeah.
many people are going to jail for that?
Yeah.
Is there any?
Nobody.
Are these drug companies really responsible for that? Are they really being held accountable?
Yeah.
I don't
not
think
the
they are.
companies. Maybe
Occasionally.
maybe the street dealers going to jail.
Yeah, well, occasionally drug companies get in trouble,
Yeah,
like
never
for
hear about
opioid deaths or for misrepresenting the dangers of the addictions to opioids or some of their drugs. That's true. Sometimes they get fined
Yeah.
and they get in trouble. But what he was saying was really weird. It's like people say things just because they think that people want to hear solutions. Like, hey, there's all these guns and shooting.
Yeah.
Someone better do something. And then someone will come along and say something like that, like guns are responsible for 150 million people every year.
And
like,
here's what I'm going to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know.
Do you remember when he got confronted by that guy at a auto factory?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "You're trying to take away
Didn't he
guns."
cuss
Like,
him
You're
out?
full of shit.
Yeah, he cussed him out.
You got old grandpa on him.
Well, that's a problem with you know how, so when you get old, you know, I don't want to talk shit about old people, but you can't think, you're just not at your best. So what happens, what I see, and maybe he has dementia, maybe not, but those guys they're cranky. They get mad. They can't think of what they want to say fast enough. So instead they just get mad.
Yeah.
And that's what it seems like he does.
Yeah.
He like lashes out and comes up.
You're full of shit.
Yeah.
Well, I think you
Dog
also...
face pony soldier. Did you see that one?
Yeah, that was a good one too.
What is, I don't even know what that is.
You're a lion, dog face, pony soldier. That's a great thing to say to someone.
This is the first time I've ever heard it.
Should be a good band.
Yeah.
Dog face, pony soldier.
That would be a good band.
Good name for a band. Like a weird funk band.
Yeah.
Dog face, pony soldier.
I like it.
Yeah, I could see them in Coachella.
Yeah.
It's a thing that when he gets mad like that too, it's almost like it's a tough guy thing too. It's like he's around all these hard men that are working in the factory, and he's like, "You're full of shit. I'll show you guys. I'm a fucking man."
It reminded me of Floyd Mayweather, and he knocked out Victor Ortiz when they were kissing or whatever they did. But Jim Gray,
Kissing?
remember?
Victor Ortiz headbutted him.
I know, but then they made up. And
No, Victor Ortiz went to make up with Floyd Mayweather.
They did.
And Floyd Mayweather was like, yeah, okay, boom.
Yeah,
and
but
then
it wasn't Jim Gray. It was an older. God, what's his name?
Larry Merchant.
Yes, Larry Merchant. And Larry Merchant said that if he was 50 years younger, he'd kick Floyd's ass.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I was like, okay, no, you wouldn't have.
No, you wouldn't.
But it reminded me of he got mad and then he was just going to kick his ass.
But what a crazy thing to say to literally one of the greatest boxers that's ever put on gloves.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make an argument who the greatest boxer of all time is, but
Yeah.
you better have Floyd Mayweather in that
He's going to be
argument.
in there.
He's in that argument.
And probably if you're holding a microphone, you probably weren't ever going to kick his ass.
What's up with the Mayweather fighting Logan Paul? You seen this?
Yes,
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
yes. Well, Logan Paul
I got
wants to
Logan
make some
Paul
money.
in that fight.
Well, one thing I will tell you, Logan Paul is a really good athlete, and
Yeah.
he's an enormous man. Now,
Right.
if it was an MMA fight, I would pick Logan Paul.
Well, Logan,
Listen to me. There's a video of Logan Paul wrestling with Paulo Costa. It's a real live wrestling sparring session where he is exhibiting real skill. He knows how to scramble. He's got real wrestling skill. And
He
I know
wrestled
he
in
wrestled
high
in
school.
I think he wrestled in college as well.
Oh, did he? Okay.
No, didn't? Just in high school?
But he was good though, right?
Did he go to college?
He went to OU,
And he didn't
the
wrestle?
biggest party school in the country.
I just partied?
Yeah.
So he's from Ohio,
started
right?
fine.
That's why you know Ohio.
That's why I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
He
why I
knows
know a little
everything
bit
Ohio.
about, so
How good was he in high school?
I remember hearing. I don't know if he won state, but I'll check that real quick.
Either way,
Yeah.
him with Paulo Costa. Paulo is the UFC's #1 contender in the middleweight division.
And
He's
the
a
most beautiful man in the UFC.
perfect specimen of a man and a wrecking machine.
Yeah.
Just a fucking wrecking machine.
Yeah.
And the two of those guys they're doing a wrestling drill and sparring, and Logan Paul is hanging in
Yeah.
there, man,
Yeah.
with an elite MMA, world championship caliber fighter, a guy who went to war with Yoel Romero and walked him down.
Right.
I mean, Paulo Costa is a monster.
Yeah.
He's and Logan Paul is hanging in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Like that, what I saw in that, I'm like, that kid is
Yeah.
impressive.
No, he's got to be 6'1".
He might actually did. Let's see one. He joined the wrestling team. This says Ohio State in Athens, which is not. It's OU. So he might have joined the team. I don't know if he had a record, if he performed with them, or if he just.
Okay,
joined
so he
the
did a
team.
little bit of wrestling in college, but he wrestled in high school as well.
Yeah.
Either way,
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude, and he's a real athlete. And one of the things that I saw, I know he lost his boxing match. They had a draw the first time, that he lost the second time.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm seeing him throw punches, he's
Yeah.
very athletic. He
Yeah.
throws punches with good technique. But obviously the other kid that he boxed with did as well. But there's such a difference between that and Floyd Mayweather. In a boxing match, it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
The only thing is that Floyd is so much smaller than him.
Yeah, he's got to be, compared to Logan, tiny. That's why I say I got the
Logan's a big guy.
I got the one punch Logan KO.
Oh my God, that's so hilarious. Could you imagine if he did? Could you imagine if he clips Floyd Mayweather in a temple and you see Floyd Mayweather doing the chicken dance?
Imagine what the crowd would do.
Imagine
if there
what anybody would do.
Would be a crowd. Yeah. But I mean,
I wonder when they're going to be able to have it. Let's do it in China or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it.
I don't know. I'm just pretty impressed with how Logan Paul has, for a young kid, has made so much money.
Just talking a lot of shit.
And turn these opportunities to fight Floyd. What?
I know, but the thing about it is, like, who's going to sanction that? The weight classes are so different.
Yeah.
Floyd
Could be
is
50 pounds different.
It could be 50 pounds plus.
Yeah.
It could be more. I
Yeah.
don't think Floyd's walks around at more than 155 pounds.
Probably not.
Maybe 160 at the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah.
You know, and when he's in shape, you know,
Yeah.
less than that probably.
But here's the crazy thing. I'll watch the shit out of that.
I'll watch the shit out of it too.
I mean, everybody will.
What were we talking about? Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are like, what are we doing? What is happening here?
Yeah.
I like the fact that they decided not to do it September 12th, so it already would have happened.
Yeah.
They decided to extend it deep into November, give everybody a chance to, like, really train and ramp
Yeah.
up the promotion and let everybody know. And it's more and more exciting every day. Roy Jones Jr. was posting some shit on his Instagram.
Yeah.
Dude, he's still got some hand
Really?
speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
See if you can find that. And he's coming in here soon. See
So
if you
I
can
was
find.
looking for Logan Paul Wrestling Coast, and all I'm finding them is like play sparring. but
Yeah, there's a
boxing,
little
though.
bit of boxing play sparring, but there's a bunch of wrestling scrambling in there that's really impressive.
Not in the video I saw. And it's
Well,
on his
I'm
vlog.
telling you
I know,
it's real.
I know. I'm looking.
Do you have to
I'm
do
looking,
another
looking.
retraction?
No,
I might
no,
have
I'm just
to.
looking. Like
I might have
there's,
to.
there's a
I
video of him getting-
apologize. I lied about Logan Paul wrestling.
Just do it in advance.
That fight.
Do it for everything.
Yeah.
Just in case.
That fight is going to be one of the most ridiculous things ever, though. If you
Yeah.
can get a YouTube star to box the literal best boxer of the last 100
of all
years.
time. Never lost.
Yeah.
15-0.
So, yeah, but back it up before that. Yeah, let them scramble. The jiu-jitsu train. Okay, so this is just jiu-jitsu training. They're rolling around the mat, but they do some scrambles. See, I don't know how much Logan has trained jiu-jitsu, but
hey.
watch
Oh, he's
watch
gonna
the
do
wrestling.
something.
Watch this though. Seriously, the kid can wrestle. Like, come on, they're not showing it.
What?
What kind of horse shit is this? Is this because they want him to look good? They want.
I don't know.
Oh, God damn it. I know it's there.
Hey, what about the full? Oh, no.
What do we got? Come on. Show me some shit. That's it? Well, it exists.
It's somewhere.
So
Oh.
they did a lot of sparring, like boxing sparring for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just showing. Let it go right here. Let's see what happens here.
Come on, Logan.
Show me some wrestling, bro.
This.
It's amazing that Paul Acosta can make 185 pounds. That's
Yeah.
what's amazing. The
He's
dude walks around at
jacked.
230 and he's a tank.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he could be a heavyweight.
230?
Close to the same
Oh,
weight
yeah.
class, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
At least there.
Close, similar.
He's 6'2".
They're not- I swear it's real. I swear it's not like the Antifa guys lighting fires in Portland. It's real.
They did that.
See if you
but
can find it.
The getting arrested part.
Maybe I'll find it.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, there's videos of him wrestling from like high school, but
Oh, no, there's no videos of him wrestling Paulo
that's
Costa. I
that
know I've
video
seen
right
it.
there was the best I could find.
Oh,
I'm looking in harder, but
Son of a bitch. I see what you're
Jamie,
doing.
come on.
Jamie's punishing me for the Portland thing.
I'm not. So there's this video of him saying it's getting knocked out, but that was 100%
That's fake.
staged. and,
Yeah,
like,
that's
Yeah.
100% fake.
Yeah.
Well, he's smart. He's getting a lot of attention. I just think he's going to be whiffing at air. He's
Oh,
boxing
yeah. How
with
would you
Floyd
ever hit
Mayweather.
Floyd? But
Yeah.
if that one connects, that's what I got my money on.
That would be so bananas.
I know.
Imagine if Floyd goes
Because Logan's
50
jacked,
and 1
dude.
because he gets KO'd by Logan Paul.
He's jacked. I mean, he
Yeah.
works out hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Super nice
And
kid, too.
He's training with Shannon the Cannon Briggs.
Is he?
Shannon the Cannon, at least he was before that last fight that he did.
Yeah.
Shannon the Cannon was training with him.
Yeah. Well, and he hunts, so that's good.
Does he?
Yeah.
Where's he hunt?
He hunted in Ohio before.
What do you like? Whitetail?
Deer, yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, his dad, because I went and did his podcast, took him a bow, and we shot, and yeah, I mean, he's
People got upset that you did his podcast.
hunters, yeah.
What? That's weird.
The hunting industry is,
That's
be
weird. First of all,
challenging.
for a lot of people, that there's a hunting industry
yeah,
Right.
there is.
because that's what social media has done. It's created like
That's
an
why
industry.
I'm here.
him and the brother, and I think the dad sharing hunting stories.
Yeah.
Oh, look
See?
at that. Interesting. You can find that, but you can't find the fucking wrestling footage.
Yeah.
Well,
I see.
hey,
I see.
It's not.
Oh, I see.
That's not how it works.
I get it.
Yeah. Well, who's going to win Tyson Jones?
I do not want to say because I do not know. But see if
Tyson.
you can. See if you can find Roy Jones Jr. training footage.
And then
He's put up some new stuff. I think yesterday or the day before. That's pretty legit.
And then you know what we're going to get? We're going
What?
to get Tyson Logan Paul.
Oh my God, that would be a murder scene.
This
So
is 3
this-
days ago, I think.
He's still got hand speed.
Yeah.
But he's still got that same style, like hands down.
Yeah.
Look, dude, he looks fast as fuck, though.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I mean, I wonder what he's going to weigh. I mean, god damn, dude.
Yeah.
His hand speed is phenomenal.
Yeah. That's always
Look at
been
that.
his thing has been speed, right?
Not just hand speed, but foot speed as well. Roy's always been. He had a weird style when he was young, which is one of the reasons why when he slowed down, it was very difficult for him to be successful because Roy would, instead of jab people, he would leap in with a left hook.
Yeah.
He had a crazy left hook,
Like
man.
a hook, kind of
Yeah.
like a weird hook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he used that in lieu of a jab sometimes, like a lot of times. He did crazy shit, like put his hands behind his back and then knock people out.
Yeah.
He was so good when he was young. People
Yeah.
like that song he made, "Y'all Must Have Forgot."
Yeah.
a lot of people did forget.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I remember, man, when I was a younger man and Roy Jones Jr. was in his prime. You would just see who's getting executed this week.
Yeah.
And one time he had a fight the day he had a full basketball game. So he had a full basketball game, played like semi-pro basketball, and then after the basketball game had a fight
Wow.
and won the fight. People are like,
Yeah.
this is disrespectful. Like, this is the Roy Jones Jr. highlight. I mean, come on, son. He was so fast. Look at this. That fight with Vinny Pazienza, that was the only fight that CompuBox ever scored where there was no punches landed on Roy for an entire round.
Really?
Yeah. He had a weird body, man.
God,
Like,
look at that.
incredible. But look how weird his body is. Like, he has enormous biceps.
Yeah.
Like, his biceps were huge, but he didn't have big triceps.
Oh.
He had a really unusual build. Look at his biceps. Bro, his biceps
yeah.
are bananas.
Jacked.
They're bananas. And he had just preposterous speed and timing and confidence
That would
and
hurt
everything.
so bad right
oh,
there.
yeah.
Look
at
at
him.
this guy. Oh.
He lit people on fire and pissed on their
Yeah.
graves.
Yeah.
He was on just incredible.
That would be, you know how terrible it would be to fight somebody like that?
Oh, man. Well, in his prime, he was so much better than everybody he was fighting. It was just this weird. And people were like, oh, Roy didn't fight anyone good. I'm like, incorrect.
Yeah.
They were good. They just weren't Roy Jones Jr.
Right.
Roy Jones Jr. was on a totally different level for years. The thing is, like, a fighter can only maintain that kind of RPM, that fucking that RPMs that he was at. You can only maintain that for a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fedor did it for a long time. Anderson Silva did it for a long time. The guys who are like at the very, very best, they can only hold on to it for a certain amount of years.
Yeah.
And then the knees go, the back goes, the joints go, the hands break. Things just, you know.
Yeah. But isn't it kind of conventional wisdom that the power can stay, though?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what,
Yeah.
like with Tyson, I mean, he looks fast there. I'll say Jones looks
I
fast.
found it for you.
Oh, here it is.
Oh,
look at this.
Look
It's only
at
a
that.
15-second
Yeah,
clip.
look at this.
Deep on Reddit.
Yeah,
I
but
found it.
dude, but look at the scrambles, man. The kid can fucking wrestle. Like, seriously, legit.
Oh, man.
Look at these scrambles. Like, watch this. See that turnaround, that duck under? Look at this. And Paulo Costa's a beast, dude.
Jeez.
Just the scramble, the way he's spinning around and avoiding the takedown.
That's athletic.
Yes, very athletic. Thank you, Jamie.
That was it.
Okay.
Thank you. I knew it was
Retract
real.
that
Now,
retraction.
find me some Antifa guys lighting forest fires, and we're good. He's a real athlete. you
Yeah.
know, and he's a big kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Floyd Mayweather.
that was impressive.
very impressive. So
Yeah.
it was an MMA fight. Floyd would be fucked.
Yeah,
he would
for
get
sure.
takedown and smashed for sure. 100%. Bet the house.
Yeah.
but it's not an MMA fight. It's a boxing match, and Floyd's the best of all time.
One punch.
Good luck. One punch. Get out of here with that shit. I just wonder if Roy Jones Jr. is going to be able to avoid Mike Tyson's the bum rush.
Yeah.
Avoid that style of that marauding, attacking style. Because obviously, when you see the Tyson training footage, he's still got that speed.
Yeah.
And he's still got that power.
Power.
He hits those mitts. It's still terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to see him get hit by those Tyson hooks.
If it's going to be, I mean, if that happens, it'll be in the first minute or two. And
The weird thing is, like, some people are saying that it's not a fight. They're like saying, well, it's just going to be a sparring match. Like, you better tell that to Tyson. Because
no,
I'll tell the story that I was telling you.
Yeah.
This new studio, there's a certain distance. This table's a certain width. And this
like
is the exact
5
same
feet,
width.
4 feet.
I don't remember what it is. I don't remember how many inches it is.
Yeah.
But this is the exact same width of the old table, the old studio.
Yeah.
But when we moved into this new place, I'm like, maybe it'd be better if it was like a little more intimate. I have a table that's like a little smaller. Mm-hmm. And then I did the interview with Tyson.
Yeah.
And he was I had 2 interviews with Tyson. One from like 11 months ago or 10 months ago where he was like smoking weed. He's opening a ranch. He's got this weed ranch. He's like super chill and he's introspective and philosophical. And he's talking about his past and all his mistakes and how weed makes him a nicer person. He likes himself on weed.
And you felt comfortable with that distance.
Oh my God, it
right?
was great. It was perfect conversation. I really enjoyed it. And then the next time was when he's fit and slimmed down. Dude, you know these weird muscles that you have at the top of your forearm? It's like he had a golf ball shoved under his skin. He just like jacked and ready to go.
Different mindset then?
He felt different to be around, man. He was so keyed up. I mean, he's in the middle of training camp.
Yeah.
And he was just super intense.
Different person.
Super. And then when he started talking about how it felt orgasmic to hurt people sometimes, and I'm like, I think I need a wider table at
And
this
Trump
fucking
sent that
studio.
out?
Yeah, Trump put that on his Twitter with no comment, no context, just posted that about Mike Tyson
I guess he
saying
thought it was
that's-
interesting.
But what? How can what? Imagine you're the leader of the free world.
Yeah.
And you go posting shit about how it feels like you want to come when you're beating people up.
Makes sense.
And it's Mike Tyson talking about it too, and he's like, "Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I like
I'm
it.
going to
Retweet."
repost this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so that made me decide to widen this table.
'Cause
Like
he
if I was a little
was
closer to him,
so
like if we were like
intense.
this close, I might be nervous. It might affect my ability to do the
Those
conversation.
A couple inches. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Extra, what is it? 6 extra inches, Jamie? That we widen the table?
At least half a foot, yeah.
Yeah, directly because of Mike Tyson interview. I was like, yikes.
So he's, I think they call that the eye of the tiger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the eye of the tiger. He's ready. He's ready.
Oh, man.
But the thing is, like, what happens if Roy can move away from him? What happens if Roy can avoid the attack? And how are they going to treat this? Are they going to treat it like a sparring session, or are they going to treat it like war?
That's what originally the reports were saying. It was not going to be a full out fight. But I don't, if Tyson's looking that intimidating, can he scale it back?
I don't even think he knows what that means. What does that mean?
I don't know.
I can't imagine he's going to scale it back.
Yeah.
And Roy Jones Jr. was saying something recently, like he thinks he might have made a mistake.
Yeah. I would think that too.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's being serious or
He
he's
probably
joking
watched
around.
the interview with Tyson 11 months ago and thought that, oh, I'll fight this guy. This guy's cool. If he watched this recent one, that's when he thought, I think I made a mistake.
Maybe. But the fact that he would say that, I can't imagine he's being serious.
Yeah.
Or unless he wants to make a lot of money. And he's like, this is the way
Isn't it crazy how Tyson, can make money for how long has it been? His 85 is when he first broke in. So how many years is this?
I know.
I mean, it's been a fucking while and he's still Tyson.
I think the last time he fought was in I want to say the early 2000s, like 2005 maybe.
I can't. I just know when he first came up is like 85 because I think I was a junior or senior or something like that. But yeah, 35 years ago.
I remember when he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He was 19 years old. It said "Kid Dynamite."
Yeah,
and it was him at 19
I
years
know.
old, the most exciting heavyweight prospect.
Dude,
Yeah,
when Tyson would fight, it was an event.
it was an execution.
Yeah,
You'd watch people get executed.
yeah.
I remember I watched the fight where he lost to Buster Douglas after I knew the result,
Oh,
and I still didn't believe it. I was like,
Yeah.
he's going to get up. He's going to knock him out. Like, this is Mike Tyson. He can't lose.
I was at some duplex, and I remember him when he was on his hands and knees looking for his mouthpiece. I was like, what is going on?
The world has gone crazy. It's gone haywire.
Yeah.
It didn't seem real.
No, that was crazy.
I can't imagine he's going to dial it back. What see if you could find Roy's exact statement. when he said he thinks he made a mistake, because that to me is like, huh?
Or is he selling it?
Right? Is
You
he
know?
selling it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Roy's smart. He's a great commentator. He's one of the best commentators
Yeah.
in the game.
I met him one time. Me, you, him,
Yeah.
and
In Vegas, after fights, we were eating
yeah.
steak.
Yeah.
That was, I think that was at Mandalay Bay.
Is that the place, that
think so.
steakhouse we always go?
That's the one at the MGM. Is that? Did we eat there? I think we ate the one at Mandalay Bay, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, but he's been fighting much more recently. Roy Jones on Mike Tyson exhibition match. I made a mistake going in with him. Tyson is still one of the strongest, most explosive people who ever touched a boxing glove, Jones said. We even think of Biden's performance with it. What does it say here? He said, still Mike Tyson, still one of the strongest, most explosive people who ever touched a boxing glove. If anything, I made a mistake going in with him. He's the bigger guy. He's the explosive guy, he said. He's going to have all the first-round fireworks, not me. I do have first-round fireworks, but he's known for more first-round fireworks than anybody to ever touch boxing other than maybe George Foreman. Jones' apprehension follows remarks Tyson made last month where he called the match a search and destroy. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. You imagine you're at home. Look, I'm just going to check Twitter before I go to bed.
Yeah, you see that? God.
Search and destroy. Tyson says, this is search and destroy, and I'm looking forward to recapturing my glory. Tyson told TMZ Sports, the fighting game is what I'm about, and hurting people is what I'm about. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's so interesting for me to see, like Jamie and I talked about it right after Tyson left,
Yeah.
where Jamie was like, okay, that was a different person. Like
From 11 months ago, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything.
everything.
All of it.
The
He wasn't
energy.
ready to fight back then, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was. Yeah, everything you've just been saying the last 5 minutes, but intense.
He
Yeah.
was saying to us during the podcast the first time, he's like, I don't even work out. He goes, if I work out, I'll reignite my ego. He goes, I don't want to
remember
do that.
Yes.
And then one of the quotes that he said in this comeback, he said, the gods of war have reignited my ego.
God.
The gods of war. What a fucking terrifying human.
What I remember is seeing some of those clips of him punching lately with all that power is his legs.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that's where the power.
Yeah.
I saw his quads or his hamstring, just the size of his legs. I'm like, God, that's a thick kid.
Yeah.
Like Brendan
Well,
Schaub thick.
He's still got it. He's still got it. Whatever it is. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's still got it.
Well, I don't know. Should
Yeah.
be fun to watch.
There's a thing about like having that skill when you're young. As long as the body doesn't fall apart, as long as the shoulders still work right and the back's not completely blown out, like especially if, and I don't know what the deal is with TRT and growth hormone and all that stuff, but if he knows how to move his body and he learned how to move his body in a way very few human beings can do, the way he has that shell, that guard where he comes in, that peekaboo style, just bobbing and weaving and throwing fucking bombs. Like that is in his makeup.
Well, it's like you kicking.
Yeah.
It's like you with your what is it, spinning back kick?
Yeah, all that shit.
Yeah, it's like you've done it since you were 15.
Yeah.
So
it
he's
becomes
done the
a part-
same thing.
Exactly.
So no matter what your body does, if you're stronger because of TRT or whatever else, that technique isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, your mind still knows how to do it. I remember there was a video. Look at this. Mike Tyson gets more ripped with each intense training video. Dude, this is a while ago, though. This is a while ago. He's way more jacked than this now.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. Like, this was months and months and months ago.
So this is September, it says
Okay,
right here.
so here we go,
It's
September
not playing this
17th.
video. That's what I was trying to hope it would just.
Oh, sons.
get it on the
Oh, here it
restart.
goes. Oh, this is just a bunch of.
All right, this one though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So this is where I saw. Look at his legs, dude.
Yeah. No, he's exploding. And it's also, he's an unstoppable
Oh my
force.
God.
He's an unstoppable force. Still got it.
Yeah.
It's the thing about him is you got to stop him from
Yeah.
coming. And
How?
you can't. Yeah. Did you ever see the most terrifying Mike Tyson fight for me is Marvis Frazier. Did you ever see that fight?
I'm sure I did.
Marvis Frazier, who was Joe Frazier's son.
Yeah.
And there was all this shit talk leading
Right.
up to this fight where Joe Frazier was like, my son's going to fuck you up. And he's
Yeah.
like, okay. And there was this intensity because, a lot of people had kind of compared Tyson in many ways to Frazier because they were both fairly short heavyweights.
Yeah.
They both had that sort of bobbing and weaving style. Look how intense that is. And the guy who's training him is Rafael Cordero, who's that's King's MMA in Huntington Beach. Rafael Cordero is a legendary MMA coach, which is really interesting that he's the guy who's training Mike Tyson because
Well, see that quote right there? Look inside my soul and how bad I want it. If Tyson's like, look inside, you don't want that.
look at his forearm. See that what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The muscles on his forearm?
Yeah.
Bro, when he said that muscle is from this. That's from clenching and smashing.
God.
Or you're
Yeah.
doing chin-ups and shit. But that's like the fist muscle.
Yeah.
Dude, fucking terrifying.
know.
He's so terrifying.
Yeah.
But Rafael Cordero, the guy who's training him, which is really interesting, he's not necessarily known as a boxing trainer. He's a Muay Thai trainer. Obviously, trained Anderson Silva, trained a lot of the Curitiba guys, the shoot the box guys like Mauricio Shogun Hua, Ninja Hua,
Yeah.
like Vanderlei Silva, some of the all-time great MMA legends of the pioneers. He was one of the trainers for those guys, like a main trainer for a lot of those guys.
I wonder why he went with
legendary.
him.
I think they just started out like hitting pads together.
Oh.
And
get back in
I
the
think
groove.
he just likes the guy, and they
Yeah.
started hitting pads together, and he likes what he was bringing to the table. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I always wonder what would have happened if, was it
Customano.
if he wouldn't have died.
Oh yeah, it
You
would have been
know,
a different world. It
I
would've been a
mean,
different
because that's
world.
what kind of got Tyson. Then he was with Don King and that whole thing and unhealthy lifestyle. But when he was with Customato, it was like, it was just, singular vision of.
Yeah, he probably would have been even greater than he was.
Yeah,
he probably
that's what I'm
would have been
thinking.
maintained it much longer than he did. Yeah, I mean, Cuss probably would have kept him up in the Catskills,
Yeah.
pulled him away from all the bullshit.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
And
well,
'cause
we talked about it a bit, but what an amazing father figure Cuss was. But we
Mm-hmm.
also talked about how Cuss hypnotized him.
really.
Oh yeah, man. When he was young, Cuss hypnotized him, and that was part of his ability to like seek and destroy. Is that Cuss told him things like, "You don't exist, just the task. The task exists.
Oh.
That there's a man in front of you, you're breaking that man down. And that's the task. You don't exist." Like crazy shit like that.
Wow.
You're telling that to a 13-year-old. And then you have the perfect storm of this 13-year-old is incredibly physically gifted.
Yeah.
Right? He was 13 years old. He weighed 190 pounds.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And Teddy Atlas told me he would bring him to these smokers. A smoker is like an amateur boxing event
Yeah.
that they would do in boxing gyms.
Right.
And he'd bring him to these smokers, and everybody would lie. Like, how many fights does this guy have? Oh, he's only had 2 fights.
Yeah.
Kids had like 30 fights.
Right.
And so they'd bring Tyson. He goes, how old is the kid? He goes, he's 13. He goes like, that fucking kid is not 13. He's like, okay, he's 16.
Yeah.
How old do you want him to be?
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, 16. I got a 16-year-old for him. And he just smashed this poor guy.
Right.
But he was 13. He was just smashing people.
Yeah.
It was the first thing that he ever did that got him real love and attention and accept. First thing he ever did where people were like, you're special. There's something to you. And then he has this guy in Customato who's a legend in boxing.
Yeah.
Like one of the most respected, legendary trainers in boxing.
Right.
He had trained Jose Torres, Floyd Patterson. And there he
Yeah.
is. And he's giving this kid information and talking to this kid
Yeah.
about what he can accomplish and what he can be. And
Incredible.
yeah, I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
That was when he was full Jack Dempsey mode.
Yeah.
That was when he was 19.
Incredible.
He was awesome, man.
Yeah.
I just think I would not want to be in there with him.
No.
Definitely not me. But I mean, if I was a heavyweight boxer who's like anywhere near his age, I don't want none of that.
I wonder how he'd do, like, if he came back in shape, I wonder how he'd do, like, against Tyson Fury.
The real problem is no matter what you do, he's still 54.
Yeah.
No matter what you do.
But those
He's
guys
still
don't
been knocked
go,
out. Listen,
Yeah.
listen, yes, they do. They do.
they go hard.
Oh, fuck yeah, they go hard.
But
Tyson Fury is 6'9".
I know. He's huge.
Mike Tyson is pretty close to my size. Okay.
Yeah.
When I stand next to him, we're not like in a
Right.
different universe.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury's in a different universe than me.
Yeah.
When I met him, I'm like, hello, giant. Like he's
true.
a
Yeah, that's
giant.
true.
Like
Yeah.
and he's a big giant. Like Deontay Wilder's a giant too, but
Yeah.
he's slender. Deontay Wilder doesn't weigh much more than me. Which
Really?
is crazy. Dude, when he fought Tyson Fury the first time and he dropped him twice,
Yeah.
he weighed 209.
Wow.
209.
Wow. And he's 6'2".
6'9", something crazy like that, 6'7". He's huge, but he's a preposterous power puncher.
Yeah.
He's preposterous.
Yeah, 40 knockouts or something.
Yeah, like he knocked out everybody except one dude and Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
In the last fight, and then in both fights, in the last fight he got stopped by Tyson Fury.
I love Tyson Fury's story though too.
It's amazing.
I mean,
yeah.
What
the
a
fact
comeback.
the fact that he was like literally accelerating his Ferrari towards a bridge.
To kill himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then decided not to and just was like really fucked up. Dude, boxing by itself, just getting hit in the head, is not good for your brain.
No.
It's just not. And then you have cocaine and booze and chaos and fame and all those things that came after he beat Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah.
And he didn't just beat Vladimir Klitschko. He humiliated him.
Yeah.
He mocked him.
Yeah.
He taunted him. He outboxed him.
He's
and then he
such a good
sang,
boxer.
He sang in the ring horrible songs.
Oh God. Yeah. I mean, he's so
good.
He's so good. Yeah. I mean, technique wise,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Well, and then coming back and using that guy from Kronk, is Sugar Hill, right? That's his trainer for the last fight. I believe that's the gentleman from Kronk. Kronk was Emmanuel Stewart's gym, which created Tommy Hearns and Gerald McClellan and all these fucking assassins. And they had this real aggressive attacking style. And he took on that style for the second fight with Deontay. So he came after him, which, yes, Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill Stewart. And is that Emmanuel's son? I don't know that. But that would be amazing if it was.
Yeah. I mean,
But he had a different style. He came after Deontay.
Yeah.
And he realized that Deontay does not fight as well going back.
right.
But Deontay hits dudes in like the top of the head and puts them to sleep.
I
He
know.
hits guys and it's like, what happened? Like they got
Yeah.
shot with a sniper rifle.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Such big humans. Like I thinking of it now, you're right. I mean, giants.
Giants.
With skill though.
Yeah. Tyson's so big. Tyson Fury, he's so huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll go Logan Paul, Mike Tyson. if they both win.
You imagine if they set that up? Listen, that's a real thing that could happen.
I know.
It's not if they both win because Logan's not going to win. He's not going to win.
Dude, the one punch.
I can't imagine that happening. I'm not a gambling man per se, but I would be willing to bet $1 million that he's not going to knock out Floyd Mayweather. I'd be like, I just can't imagine a world where that
Yeah.
takes place.
Yeah.
It could happen. Don't get me wrong. It could happen.
Yeah. It's a fight game.
It would be the weirdest moment in all of boxing if Logan Paul connects with a big punch and knocks Floyd Mayweather out.
Oh God.
It'd be horrible in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, it would be amazing. It would be both horrible and amazing.
Yeah.
It's his nephew.
Okay.
Yeah. So they devised a perfect strategy, Sugar Hill and Tyson Fury in the rematch. But then there's going to be another fight in December. So they're fighting again. The third fight is going to be in December.
Who? Wait.
Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's weird watching these fights with no audience too.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Do you like doing UFC with no?
I do like it. Yeah. I don't not like it. I do like it.
Yeah.
The thing about it that's really strange is you hear everything. You hear every grunt. You hear deep breaths. You hear shit talk. You hear corners, coaching, really clearly. 3-5, 3-5. Like, look for the left. Move to the side. Stay away from his right leg. Like, all these things. Get out of kicking range. Like, you hear things that you don't necessarily hear unless those guys are mic'd up. And we tune. Sometimes, occasionally, when there's a live crowd, we'll tune into those people. Like, tune into them. And then, the coach there'll be a camera on them and we'll listen to the corner while they're giving instructions. But it's not most of the time. It's just occasionally.
Right.
But during these big fights with no audience, you hear everything the coaches are saying. Everything.
Yeah.
They have this date in December locked up for the Vegas new football stadium.
Oh.
Only because they're hoping to have fans there for
Yeah.
it. So I don't know how many, but it lines up with the NFL schedule, so the venue's open.
How is that possible?
I think they were hoping to have 15,000, I think. So it'd be definitely distanced in there. I don't know how, though.
Yeah, because the stadium probably holds.
Probably close to 80, 90.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
So they'd be all spread out.
How weird.
I know.
But I mean, would you want to go there?
Yeah.
15,000 people
Would you
coughing.
There's a football game last night in Cleveland. There's 6,000 people there, and they still had a fight in the stands. You know, people get drunk. They watch football. That's what they want to do. They're gonna go to Vegas. They're gonna party. They're gonna be crazy.
Hey, Cleveland won.
They did. They pulled it off.
Hopes that fans will be able to attend. Yeah, maybe. Well, at a certain point in time, I believe
it's after the election.
Yeah,
so it'll be over.
Maybe, yeah, after the election, it's all going to be fine, unless there's riots. Who knows what's going to happen after the election? I mean, the world could be filled with chaos after the election.
Man, I don't know. Where are the fights this weekend?
They're taking place in Vegas. This is at the Apex Center, and then next weekend is Fight Island. So the next few fights are at Fight Island, but this one's at the Apex Center, which is an awesome place for fights. It's awesome. The acoustics are amazing. The way they have it set up is amazing. You know, and the UFC, kudos to the UFC for doing the right job, doing the best job they can. They test the shit out of everybody. Everybody wears masks.
Yeah.
There it is. Fight night. What's the card? Let me see the card. I know Cowboys on the card against Nico Price. That is a tough fight. And that dude, Khamzat, I don't know how you say his last name, Chimaev.
Oh, my God.
He's a beast. That kid is a beast.
Yeah.
That's an interesting fight.
Very confident.
But Gerald Mearshart has got a lot of experience, man.
Yeah. Lots of fights.
You know?
Look at that. 44 fights.
44 fights. Johnny Walker and Ryan Spann.
Oh, Mackenzie Dern.
Kevin Holland, Darren Stewart. This is good fights. Mackenzie Dern. Yeah, good fights.
Who do you got in the headliner? Colby.
Listen, Tyron Woodley is one of the greatest welterweights of all time. There's no doubt about it. But his last two fights have not been his best.
Yeah.
He lost 2 decisions in a row. But he also lost 2 decisions in a row to a guy in Kamaru Usman, who I think is one of the greatest of all time. I think Usman is just an unstoppable beast. And you saw he's the only guy that's been able to shut down Colby.
Yeah.
You know, that's how good Kamaru Usman is. Shut him down, outlasted him, and then wound up beating Colby up in the final round, broke his jaw, stopped him. But if Tyron Woodley can regain the form that he had when he beat Darren Till, the form that he had when he knocked out Robbie Lawler, the form that he had when he was at the top of his game, you know, he gives everybody problems.
Yeah.
But the question is, like, what has been going on? Is it just that he's meeting some of the best guys ever, like in Gilbert Burns, who's elite. Gilbert Burns is elite.
Yeah.
And Kamaru Usman is elite. But you can make an argument that he's lost 10 rounds in a row, the last 10 rounds in a row, which is incredible. If you think about before that fight, if you go back to before the fight with Kamaru Usman, and if someone told you Tyron Woodley before this fight is going to lose 10 rounds in a row, you'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
He's a destroyer.
Yeah.
Tyron Woodley's a destroyer. It's sometimes fighters, they have peaks and valleys, and sometimes they return better and stronger than ever, and sometimes it's the start of a downward slide. And Colby is a real test to find out where he's at, because there's going to be a lot of emotions coming into this fight. And Tyron for sure is the bigger puncher, for sure. Tyron is a legit one-punch knockout artist. But Colby has a third lung. He's got a crazy gas tank. And you can't just take him out. You got to beat him down. Like Usman beat him down. And even then, he was protesting the stoppage with a jaw literally snapped in half, blood pouring out of his mouth, and pissed that they stopped the fight.
He's a tough kid.
He's a fucking animal.
Yeah.
He's a fucking animal. And he's an animal that wants the belt, you know, and he wants to get back in there with
And
Usman.
his striking looked pretty good in that fight.
Pretty fucking good.
And so we know he's a wrestler. He's got, I think, the most takedowns right now of anybody active.
Well, he has a crazy pace. And, you know, we were talking about Michael Chiesa. You were saying that Michael Chiesa said you can't just have a good camp.
Has to be your best camp ever.
Yeah. If you're fighting Colby, you better pack a fucking lunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got a pace that's just hard to believe, man.
Right. And that's Woodley's kryptonite.
In some ways, it has been Woodley's kryptonite. It certainly was in the Usman fight. But, you know, the thing about Woodley is, at least in those camps and in these moments in the past, he has had personal problems. He's had career issues. He's had distractions, like he was starting a rap career. He was involved in a lot of other things that when a fighter is at their best, they're they are of a singular mission, and that singular mission is like to seek and destroy,
Yeah.
and to just train and to just fight. I think everything else on top of that, you can do it. You can do it. And
Yeah.
maybe you'll be successful. Maybe you win by knockout. Maybe you're just better.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe it'll sap just a little bit of you, and maybe those exchanges where you could come out on top, you don't.
Right.
The other guy comes out on top, and then you drop down a little bit, and then you don't have the recovery because you haven't trained as hard as maybe you could have, or the distractions have kept you from just being completely focused and centered on your game.
Yeah.
I think that you saw that with Ronda Rousey. As Ronda Rousey got more and more famous, there was more and more distractions.
Yeah.
There was movie scripts, and there was television shows, and there was all these different things that came to her.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there was also Holly Holm, who was the best striker she ever faced,
Yeah.
and Holly stopped her.
Head kick.
And it changed the whole game. Well, the thing about Colby Covington is that all that motherfucker does is train and talk shit. He trains and talks shit and makes videos.
Yeah.
Makes videos with
Banging
girls, with girls in their bikinis, and he's talking shit in those videos too.
Yeah.
He's wearing a MAGA hat, and there's so much emotions when you're fighting him.
But that's the only time he's not training.
Yeah.
I mean, he is so focused on training and getting to be the best. I mean,
You know him well. Let's
Yeah.
just tell people.
Yeah.
You've trained with him multiple. You've run together. He's trained at your gym.
yeah, he has. And he's just a hardworking kid. He's got the best attitude, the most respectful guy. You know, it's what he does on camera is a whole different thing. But when he's there to train, that's all he cares about. And that's what he does every single day. It's like he's obsessed with being the best. And it's tough to, when you're at your prime and you're as good as he is, we talked about talent, and then also you train and you eliminate those distractions. That's a package.
Yeah, and I think that training with you also, when you took that dude running and you run Mount Pisgah, how do you say that?
Pisgah.
Pisgah.
Yeah.
But why has it got a P in there?
Pisgah?
How do you say
it's
it? How do you spell it?
Pisgah.
How's that? Pisgah?
Yeah.
But there should be a G in there somewhere.
No, Pisgah.
Yeah, but how do you say it? You're not saying it with a G.
Pisgah.
Guh.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying Pisgah. Say it
Maybe
again.
I do. Pisgah.
Yeah, see? There's no G in there.
Whatever.
You're not saying
it's
the G.
just like people who say Oregon. It's
Oh.
Oregon.
Oregon.
So
But gun
Yeah.
is still G.
Okay.
Pisgah. That's a K in
I'm just
there.
saying that when you're from there, you just say,
Okay, I get it. But when he runs that with you and he realizes like, wow, there's levels to endurance. There's levels to cardio.
Yeah.
I mean, that has got to help him. I mean, a
Yeah.
guy your age, you're so much older than him, and you're like way outpacing him when you guys are running together. Like that's got to let him know, like, Jesus Christ, like as much as you think you're pushing it, the grind never stops.
Yeah.
And someone like you who does that grind every fucking day, you get to this level of endurance, and people that think they're in good shape. Like I talked to a bunch of the Sorinex guys that went running with you.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I thought I was in pretty good shape.
yeah, it's different. But yeah, Colby always has been known for his cardio, so he does really well. But he'll admit too that, I mean, I'm only doing that. So
Yeah.
I'm not hitting pads. I'm not wrestling. So it's like it's easy for me to focus on endurance. But he does say that. So it has opened his eyes. He said there is another level.
Yeah.
And that's where he's been obsessed with getting.
Yeah, the other level of endurance and conditioning has always been this place where people reach and then realize it. I remember Tito Ortiz fought Frank Shamrock. This was back when Tito Ortiz was at the top. Well, before he was really at the top of his game. But
Training a Big Bear?
I think he was training at Big Bear. I don't know if he was training at Big Bear back then, because this was the fight where Frank Shamrock outworked him.
Oh.
And Frank Shamrock wound up beating him down and stopping him.
Oh, okay.
And when it happened, Tito became this cardio monster
Right.
afterwards, and focused on cardio. It was a great lesson. He realized, like, wow, like I fell apart because I got exhausted. And before he was able to smash these people because he's this really big, strong kid. And he was a very good wrestler, just tough as fuck, and he's ready to scrap. And he wound up running into a guy in Shamrock that was trained better, was smarter, was just had a better game plan, and was an insane cardio. And Frank just outworked him and wound up stopping him. And then Tito became this guy who realized, like, oh, cardio's everything.
Right.
Cardio's and
Okay.
I remember Kendall Grove who was a great fighter from Hawaii.
I remember him.
Still around. He trained with Tito on The Ultimate Fighter and then said to me, he goes, dude, it opened my eyes. He goes, cardio is everything.
Yeah.
Cardio is everything.
Yeah.
And you realize that these guys that have a certain amount of conditioning, they have a certain amount of ability. If you add extreme cardio, then the other guy gets tired and you don't. And then when you see someone tired and you're not tired, it's amazing. It's amazing, that feeling. You're like, what's up?
Yeah.
Bang!
Yeah, that's gotta feel good.
Oh, it feels amazing.
And the saying, fatigue makes cowards of us all.
Yep.
You know, so as a fighter, when you're fresh, you could be a whole different fighter than when you're tired.
Yep.
All of a sudden, being choked out wouldn't be that bad. Let me get out of here.
Yep. And that is what happens too. Your brain starts to looking for ways out.
Yeah.
You know, you give up your back, you give up an arm. You know, like you see guys getting mounted, and you see them like literally reach up, and they're kind of giving an arm.
Yeah, and they're
just so tired.
They're like, take my neck. And that's that's a big thing to me. The difference in the fight is Colby was tired. It was a 5th round. He was beat up. He never gave up.
That's true, but neither did Tyron. You got to realize Tyron fought Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns put a beating on him in the first round. Tyron never looked for a way out. He kept trying to win that fight. Yeah. Gilbert was a step ahead of him, and Gilbert wound up winning basically every round, but Tyron never looked for a way out.
Did you think that I felt like he sort of gave up against Usman?
I don't think he gave up. I think that's all he had. I think that's all he had.
Didn't look like he was doing shit in that fight.
Well, I think first of all, he's trying to stay alive because Usman put a beating on him. I think it was one round. I think it was the 4th round. He unloaded this horrific combination on him. And I talked to Usman about it, and he was like, I was trying to take him out. Yeah. And he was, then I realized he wasn't going anywhere. I was like, oh, shit. I burnt my gas tank out.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think Tyron's trying to win with everything he had, but I don't think he had enough that day. Okay. And I talked to him about that fight afterwards, and he said that wasn't me. He goes, I wasn't there. Anybody who knows me knows that wasn't me.
Yeah, but so how do you do that? How do you go to a fight and that's not you?
You know, what we talked about distractions and about all these different things. Yeah. And, you know, it's hard. Being a professional prize fighter is one of the most difficult things that anybody could do in athletics.
Oh, I couldn't. I mean, I'm sitting on the couch talking shit.
But you're not sitting on the couch. You do difficult things. I mean, you've done the Moab 240. You've run 240 fucking miles in the mountains. You know what difficult things are. The thing about fighting is that you're getting hit, and someone is hitting you. The thing, there's battles. And so maybe as difficult, if not more difficult, the battles that play out in your own mind when you're running for 3 days in the mountains. Yeah. But there's something about people hitting you and about knowing that this guy, like when you're sparring, say, and you realize that a guy is faster than you, you're like, oh, okay. Like I'm trying to do this and I'm getting cracked as I'm coming in. His timing's better, and you have to readjust and you're constantly thinking. Yeah. It's a crazy management battle because you're estimating what you can do and you're calculating what you need to, like you need to feint your way in, you need to redirect or misdirect. You're trying to figure it out. So it's draining. It's exhausting. And then you're getting pink, then you're getting dinged up. And you're trying to win, but you just don't have it. Right. You know, and that's what I saw with Tyron Woodley. I never saw any quit. There was no quit because he could have quit. He could have found a way out. He's a champion. Yeah. He could have found a way out in either one of those fights. The thing about this Colby Covington fight is you got to be ready. You got to be ready. And if he's ready, and if we're getting the Tyron Woodley that knocked out Robbie Lawler, if we're getting the Tyron Woodley that stopped Carlos Condit, we're getting the real Tyron Woodley. If we're getting that guy, it's going to be an interesting fight because they fucking hate each other. They fucking hate each other. And Tyron does not want to lose 3 fights in a row.
No. And Colby says he's expecting the best Tyron Woodley.
And he calls him Tyrone.
Yeah.
Tyrone Woodley, you pussied out. This should have been you, all that shit.
I know.
This is your ass kicking.
Yeah.
Why'd you let this man take this ass beating for you?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be, so he's expecting the best. Yeah. And he says he says he's going to end the fight. When
if and when he wins the title, I want to get him in here. I want him to tell the story of why he created this character, because it's a really interesting story. Because if you talk to Colby outside the octagon, like you said, he's a very respectful dude. He's really smart and nice, and he's very smart. He's there. Like he's a very articulate, like really engaging person. He's charismatic. Yeah. But what he realized was he was about to get cut. And the UFC just they were literally telling him Like, we don't like your style. We don't
Right.
like the way you're fighting. We're going to cut you. So he goes to Brazil. Mm-hmm. He's fighting Damian Maia in Brazil, and he starts talking mad shit.
Yeah.
He calls him a bunch of filthy animals and said the place is a dump.
Yeah.
And everybody goes nuts, and he
That was
wins.
after he beat. I mean, he said it on the mic afterwards.
Yeah. After he won.
Yeah. And beat. Maya's never been beat up like that, has he?
Tyron beat him up pretty bad. And Gilbert Burns knocked him out in his last fight. But Damian Maia's 41, I think.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah.
one of the greatest jiu-jitsu artists that's ever competed in MMA. There it is. Look at that.
Is this right now?
Yeah, early today.
Oh shit!
Look how focused Colby looks. God damn. He's so focused.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
That's
This is intense.
that looks good.
Tyron has a
doesn't
shirt
it?
on that says legalize being black.
What?
It's illegal. Did you know?
Yeah. Oh,
it's
Colby looked good there, didn't he?
Yeah, he looks really, really intense.
Yeah.
It's hard to see if Tyron's intense because he's got glasses on.
Yeah.
He's wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
It's a crazy fight, man. It's a crazy fight.
But yeah, Colby in Brazil knew. They said what he says is UFC said they were going to cut him, win or lose,
yeah.
and so he made.
He started talking crazy shit. Everybody went nuts, and then a lot of eyes on him. And they're like,
Yeah.
"We like what you're doing." So they basically, and it was a career saving move that turned him into a star.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, I talked to him before that. He was not that guy. Before that, he was just a guy who was training and fighting and doing really well.
Well, that's who he still is.
And he had a great style. I
Yeah.
mean, his style was that style of like really high pace.
Yeah.
Stays on people. He only had one loss previous to the Kamaru Usman fight, and that was a fight that he took with a fucked up rib.
Yeah, he was hurt.
Yeah,
He needed money.
He needed the cash, which
Yeah.
is the life of a young up and coming prize fighter.
Yeah.
But he's special. He's not, he tricks people with the cheap suits and the MAGA hat
Yeah.
and all that trash talk. Like that is a facade. But the thing is, that makes it harder. Like to talk all that shit and
Yeah.
then go and
Putting
fight.
pressure
because
on yourself.
Yeah, people want you to lose, man.
putting
People want you to
pressure.
lose.
Yeah. And he's good at it. He's good
Yeah.
at dealing with that. And I've heard stories about him back in college wrestling, and he still had that confidence where he'd be wrestling and talking to the crowd.
That's amazing.
Yeah, while he's wrestling during the match against, the best wrestlers in the country. I mean,
But there's
tough
something
kid.
about that distracts the opponent too. People do that. Like Floyd Mayweather does a lot of that in sparring.
yeah.
James Toney was famous for that. James Toney, who's like, without a doubt, one of the best defensive boxers of his era. He was an amazing boxer. And James Toney would talk mad shit during fights. That's it, bitch. That's all you
Yeah.
got, bitch. This is it, bitch.
Yeah.
That's all you got, bitch. And then he'd pop you with a jab and hook you. Come on, bitch. Come on,
Yeah.
bitch. You ain't got shit. You ain't got shit. Pop, pop. You ain't got shit. Pop,
Oh,
pop.
God. That'd be
and
terrible.
he did that in sparring. See if Google James Toney talking shit during sparring. It was legendary. People would go to Wildcard Gym just to watch James Toney box and talk shit to people.
Wow.
And he would get like world championship caliber fighters and like, come on, bitch, let's spar, bitch. He would like take guys that maybe he would fight in the future. Like he didn't care. He was like, come on, get in here. And he had that shoulder roll style. So
Kinda like Floyd.
Yeah, but he's thick. He's
Oh.
a big, thick dude. So he'd get up in here and get on top of guys and push them up against the rope and talk shit and hook them.
That'd be rough.
Yeah. His fight with Roy Jones Jr. was when they were both in their prime, and James Toney was a destroyer, and Roy Jones Jr. just was too fast, too slick. See, if you could hear this, can you hear some of this? He just talks shit. Oh, that's Danny Green, who is a world-class fighter.
I don't know where the shit
Look how
talking
thick he is. God damn, James Toney looks good here.
Yeah, he
Look how big he is.
Oh.
I don't know if it's if there's shit talking in this or if it's just like regular boxing sparring.
Yeah.
But Danny Green, I believe, when these guys sparred, Danny Green was a top contender. Rogan made this video famous 12 years ago.
We was talking about it 6 months ago.
It says 12 years after I uploaded it. Oh, that's hilarious.
That's good.
That's hilarious. Well, I made it famous again. I love watching boxing sparring matches. I love I love like watching anything. Here it is.
Said you're scared to get hit. You're European.
Yeah. Oh God.
See, that fucks with people's heads.
Yeah, definitely. Then you take a stiff jab.
Yeah. See, he's talking shit to. Ooh. Come on.
Oh God, those punches are stout.
Yeah. Well, he was fantastic at like these like really tight, like in close combat fights of like giving you the shoulder and pop you with short hooks and turning angles on you. He was just super skillful. He just wasn't the most disciplined guy.
Yeah.
So like a lot of times he would show up for fights. He didn't have big
Out of
cams.
shape.
Brought it up because it was Radio Raheem. He filmed those.
Oh, that's right.
That's what that was.
That's right. He also fought in the UFC. He fought Randy Couture.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Randy Couture just hit him with a low ankle and took him down,
Took him
mounted
out
him. I
fast.
think he arm triangled him. I think he got him in the head and arm choke.
But isn't that so? I mean, you said you like watching training. But
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's how you watched me shooting when you first wanted to have me on the podcast years ago.
Yeah.
So what is it about? It's like watching people put in work for a discipline. Is that what you like to see? Or is that
Yes.
what everybody likes to see?
I get inspired by greatness. People that are great at anything, even great at shit that I don't ever want to do. Like if I see a guy play the harp,
Yeah.
he's fucking awesome at it.
Yeah.
I get fired up.
Yeah, me too.
I just love watching people put in work.
Yeah.
I think there's something that's an incredible resource that we have today with videos, whether it's YouTube videos or any kind of video on Instagram or what have you, where you can watch them and you get fired up. Like that's a boundless resource.
Yeah.
You know, you need discipline to get things done in this life. But inspiration's nice.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
nice.
it
Gives
helps.
give you a little extra juice. You won't get there without discipline.
Yeah, it
Like
helps.
if you only trained when you're inspired, fuck. Good
Yeah.
luck. You're gonna you're
Right.
gonna get fat.
Yeah, that's right.
You need discipline, but inspiration's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to have. There's something about it. To me, I just take advantage of it. I think it's an amazing resource. So whether it's watching a guy like you shoot and watching your dedication and your training footage and all that stuff. Like I love the fact that you're always putting the Sorenix Lab on Instagram and you do those long videos where you and who's in there with you? Is it Eric the trainer
yeah.
dude?
No, that's
Eric.
Nick the trainer
Nick
dude.
the trainer dude.
Eric
and
McCormick is Outlaw Strength.
Outlaw Strength. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But that you do it with these guys and you have these, you bring people in to train with you and you
Yeah.
have these, I need to know that other people are working.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I want to see motion. It
It's
makes
weird.
me want to put my fucking shoes on and go.
It's weird because those videos, sometimes they'll get, for me is a lot, but 200,000 views on
Crazy.
just lifting.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
But so people aren't unlike you. I mean, they want that too.
They love it. Those
Yeah.
Goggins videos. I put a Goggins video on my page the other day. I got 2 million views. Yeah, because
Crazy.
it's just him talking shit about himself.
Yeah.
Which is what's hilarious. He's
Yeah.
talking shit about his own like lack of motivation.
Is that where he said he videoed himself being a...
being a bitch.
Yeah.
He goes, "I sound like a straight bitch."
God, I love that guy.
Stay hard.
I love that guy. How could he not make somebody want to work harder? I mean,
You are gonna work harder than you were gonna work out for
Yeah.
sure. You're not gonna probably work out as hard as him, but you're gonna work out harder than you would have, knowing
Yeah.
that there's dudes like that out there.
yeah.
I think that's what people need to realize, and I think you provide that as well, because people have this idea of how hard they're working, and it's usually grossly inflated.
Yeah.
You know, most people, they don't have the experience of driving themselves on a daily basis to excellence. They kind of put in some work and then they pat themselves on the back. They think they did a good job.
Yeah, right.
Even guys who kind of work out kind of hard, like I'm fucking in there hustling. Like,
Yeah.
are you? Are you really?
Yeah.
Let me show you some
No,
videos, bro.
Here's
Here's
Goggins.
my friend that gets up at 3 a.m. and runs a
Yeah.
marathon before work.
Well, every place I've went this year, it's like to a crowd where I haven't been around. They've talked about Truett doing pull-ups.
That was
it's-
your
it's-
son.
It's hilarious. They'll be like, "So now, did he do chin-ups too and pull-ups and switch around?" I'm like, "Nope, just pull-up." So push-ups? Did you do any? Nope, just pull-ups. And that pull-ups are so hard.
And how many pull-ups did he do
He did 4,100.
in 24 hours?
Yeah, 17 hours, like 35 minutes.
4,100 pull-ups.
Yeah.
That's a
But
lot of pull-ups.
his motivating factor was Goggins. I mean, it was all about Goggins. Goggins' previous world record was 4,032. And so I just told him, I said, well, you know, we look up to Goggins as like a god to us, you know. I mean, he's such a badass, and just knowing him is an honor. But I said, well, if that's the goal, to beat Goggins, you also have to beat his time. Otherwise, what's the point? So he did. He was able to do that, and it was all about just trying to live up to the example Goggins set, and he got it done. But
now
a lot of people bring that up.
The Goggins pull-up, like what Goggins' record was for pull-ups, how did he calculate it out? Did he say if I do 5 every X amount of seconds?
5 a minute.
5 a minute. You do 5 a minute. There's 60 minutes in an hour. There's X
300.
So you calculated it all out. And he said, as long as I can keep that pace, I can do this.
That's what Truett was doing. He wanted to do 5 a minute. Yeah. So then he fell behind a little bit, and I was having him get back up on, because I showed up when he was about maybe 2,000 in. I flew in. Woo! And, you know, and he was doing pretty good, but he started to fall behind. So then I was getting him back up on that bar, and, you know, I'd look at the clock and say, you got to get back up there now. Let's go.
Did you play him the scene where Adrian tells Rocky, win, Rocky?
No.
Just win.
The one that Goggins likes is round 14, I think, and when Apollo had Rocky hurt, and then Rocky gets up, and Apollo had his hands up, and then he looks back, and Rocky's up, and Apollo just shakes his head, and then he's like, I can't, this fucker won't quit. So that's what Goggins, he replayed that over and over.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Isn't that funny?
But anyway, Goggins is like, he's so powerful to so many people, including my son. So I mean, it's
well, I gotta say, you raised 2 savage sons. You did a pretty fucking good job.
Yeah,
You really did.
thank you.
You have 2 amazing sons.
Yeah, Tanner right now is
He's a stud. Last time I saw him, I was like, look at you, man.
Yeah.
I remember when you were young.
yeah, I know.
Just
yeah.
a few years ago, he
Yeah.
was a boy. Now he's
Yeah.
this big savage man,
Yeah, he's
and he's a ranger.
he's in the Army, and
He's a beast.
yeah. I mean, I feel
No, Tanner
pretty
and
lucky.
Truett, you should be very proud. You did an amazing job, and it's your example that you've set, and that's a powerful thing. It's not just powerful because you set that example, but you also set an example to them, and they will set examples to other people, and it's a butterfly effect, and it'll pass on. You know, there's a thing that you're doing that when putting out the kind of work that you do and the consistency that you do, people know that they can always come to your Instagram page and they're going to get this like consistent message and consistent work ethic, and that's it's fuel for people, and it's wind. It's like wind on the sail. It pushes people, and you probably have no idea how many countless people you've inspired by doing that.
Thank you. Yeah,
It's pretty amazing.
yeah. I mean, I feel lucky just to have the life that I have. I mean, it's you know, I don't know. I never would have envisioned this coming from where I came from.
Do you also feel motivated because so many people are watching? Because so many people look up to you?
Yeah,
now?
I mean, I'm going to do what I do. It's, you know, you can't fake it for this long. I'm going to do what I do, but I also know that I got to hold myself accountable because people are paying attention, and I want to help them. I want to be like you said, that wind in their sail, and so I owe it to. Well, I think for the most part, I feel like I owe it to Roy to give the best I have every day. I think about him often.
Some people don't know who Roy is. Explain.
Yeah, Roy is my hunting partner who got me started in bow hunting back in 1988, and he died sheep hunting in 2015, and he fell. And so it's, you know, I
Fell
think
off the side of a mountain.
yeah, I think about how he lived his life and how tough he was, and what he meant to me. And I just, you know, so I want to honor him. I want to honor his memory. And like I always say when I talk about Roy's, legends never die, and I don't want his legend to die. So to me, you know, and I've talked about this before, but even I've had a lot of hunting success, and it just feels it's not quite the same because Roy's not here, because I'm not able to share it with him. And that was we'd call and update if we weren't hunting together, which we had 2 amazing hunts his last year, right before he fell. And it's like it's just different. It's not the same.
Yeah.
And so I do it for him. I do it to for my life. I feel like I got to give the best I have, and I do it, to hopefully be the wind in people's sail. And
we're all connected in this weird way, right? Mm-hmm. That's what's interesting about social media. There's a lot of negative aspects of social media, but there's some positive aspects too that are undeniable. And one of them is that we all do inspire and motivate each other. And whether people inspire and motivate you because they look up to you, or because they follow you, because they're interested in what you do, or because you look up to them and you see them and you see how hard they're working, and it makes you want to get after it. We imitate our atmosphere, and if you are following good, positive people, good, supportive, positive people that are out there really putting in work, and it makes you want to be one of those people.
Yeah, I think so. That's how it works on me. I tell, we have a mutual friend, Aaron Snyder. I do tell him I miss the days a little bit where he used to talk shit about me. Because he used to.
Because it motivates you.
Yeah, because I'm like, I told him, I texted him, I'm like, God, I miss the days where he used to talk shit. I said, I need that. I need the old Aaron back. Now he's super supportive, and he's like.
Goggins tells me that. He goes, I like shit talking.
Yeah.
He goes, I like the haters. He goes, I think about them fucking haters when I get up in the morning.
Yeah.
He goes, I need those motherfuckers.
He says that. I asked Goggins specifically about that, and about people who don't like him. He's like, good. He goes, I like it like that. Fuck them.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird journey we're on where different things can motivate you at different times. But
Yeah.
I do some weird way like reading hate sometimes. I don't know why.
Well, sometimes you need an extra little bit of gas, need an extra little juice.
Yeah.
And that sometimes people wanting to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's good.
Yeah. And
It's also knowing that they're just bitches. And that you're not. There's something about knowing that there's weak bitches out there in the world. Like, oh, look at you. Look at you, cutie.
I couldn't imagine being one of those guys.
I could if everything went totally wrong. If you make bad decisions, you go on bad paths, you got bad friends, you get a bad job, you get a bad girlfriend or
Right.
a bad wife, and a bad life, and
it could
bad
happen.
habits, and
It could easily happen.
drugs and alcohol and stealing and lying, and next thing you know, you hate yourself and you're 35 and you don't know why. You just wish you were someone different and special. And then you see some guy out there just kicking ass. You're like, fuck him. Fuck you, loser. He's faking it. He's doing this. I've heard people say all kinds of crazy shit. There's this one dude that I follow. He's a martial arts guy. People are always accusing him of speeding up his videos.
Oh.
Because he's so fast.
Yeah.
There's people like that, man. They just don't want to believe that you. And then there's other people that go, God damn, that guy's fast.
Yeah.
I want to work out harder.
Right.
And it's all in who you are,
Yeah. And where you are in life.
Yeah. Find this guy on Instagram, Erickson Samuel. He's on Instagram, and he's got these crazy videos of him doing kicks. See if you could find it.
And just kick after kick after kick, and it's super fast.
Oh my God, he's ridiculous. Yeah,
So it's not sped up, right?
No.
That's just what
No.
Haters are saying.
Yeah, they're just haters.
Yeah.
ERIC. Okay. There's a bunch of really good ones. If you look at the grid, go to the second down on the left-hand side. On the far, watch this. Oh, this is just him doing a jump spinning kick. But there's some other ones, like the middle one in the top row. Go to the middle one in the top row. That one there. No, it's not. Watch how fast this motherfucker is. So he does a lot of these.
Yeah.
He's just really talented, really skillful. But he had to do a video addressing people that say that he's speeding up his videos.
Yeah.
But that's how it always is. These aren't the best videos. He's got some other ones in there that are better.
Is he good?
He's good.
Does he
he's
compete?
good. He's definitely fought MMA. I don't know what his record are. I just like watching his videos.
I had somebody yesterday say they were gonna kill me and skin me like I do the animals.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What a sweet person. They must be a compassionate vegan.
Yeah. So that's always fun.
Yeah, I wonder what they would say if they met you. People, they get these ideas in their head that a person who hunts or a person who is a meat eater is causing all this terrible harm to the world, and that they are a good person, and that this person is bad, and they're going to threaten that person, and then somehow or another that's going to make it all better. Or that they're showing you that, they're there to stand up for the animals. And there's a lot of like mentally ill people too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of people that they don't understand the harm they're doing. They don't understand the harm they're doing just by buying vegetables that grow in a monocrop situation.
Oh,
You know how much shit gets poisoned?
Yeah.
How many animals get ground up when they're using the combines? Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of damage it does to just an ecosystem when you run a monocrop operation like most of the food that you buy?
Yeah.
Like human beings cause damage. We cause damage. I mean,
if you're living, you're causing death.
And you got to think like you personally are causing a small amount of damage. Like you personally, for the food that you eat, are causing a small amount of damage. But if you stop and think about LA, like 20 million people, and all the corn and all the soybeans and all the almonds you need for 20 million people, like that adds up, and it adds up to devastation. It's crazy on wildlife and wildlife displacement, and just how unnatural it is to have massive fields of any one particular crop.
Yeah.
And all the animals that want to eat that stuff that get wiped out and killed, and poison bugs and poison worms and all these different things that wind up getting
So much
wiped
death.
out.
So much death. And then because I kill a bull elk
Yeah.
and honor every ounce of that meat like it was gold. And, and that's what I would say is people, Americans throw away 40% of their food. Did you know that?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
40%. So part of that's going to be meat. So as a hunter, every ounce of meat is I always say considered like gold. And then you got people judging you that are, have a double bacon cheeseburger and they're like, oh God, I'm stuffed. I can't eat another bite. Take this away. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You paid for the death of that cow and you're so stuffed. You're such a glutton that you're pushing it away and throwing it in the garbage. But yet you're judging me.
Well, people just love to judge people because it's better than looking at themselves.
Yeah.
The thing about judging and attacking people online, it's a fun sport for people that don't have other hobbies.
I guess so. I mean, that's what I guess if people could have a purpose. I mean, I just don't think people feel like they have a real purpose in life. So that's where, as you know, bow hunting has given me a purpose. It's like, oh, this is what I do. Mm-hmm. So everything revolves around what I do. And so I know people don't feel like they have a purpose. It'd be nice. I think we'd be a lot happier society if people felt like they were here for a reason and had a purpose.
Yeah. And, there's no shortcuts in terms of your growth as a person. And when you do have a purpose and you're pursuing that purpose and you realize each step along the way, whether you're improving or whether you need to improve, and you've got a task in front of you, and you have this direction, and you have this goal in life, this focus, it gives you real live feedback on how good you're doing, where you need to improve, how you're growing, where you're failing. And some people never get that. They don't have that.
Yeah.
They just show up. They do the least amount that they can do to not get fired, and they go home, and then they just sit around.
Yeah.
And they watch things happen on television, and they talk shit. That is sadly a lot of people's.
Yeah.
And this is their existence, and this is this unfulfilled life. This is this unfulfilled time here, and it's a miserable time. Because the more you seek this comfort, the more you seek this laziness and this sloth and just laying around doing nothing, the more depressed you're going to be, because you're not going to get that good feedback.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that growth. You're not going to get that feeling of accomplishment. You're not going to get any of the things that make life exciting. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons why, like, people will go, why do you get happy when you shoot an elk? Like the video that you and me, from last year, our last year's hunt. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if you knew how hard that is to do,
so hard.
You would know. You shoot an animal that's 67 yards away, and you have to make sure that you hit it right. If you don't hit it right, you're wounding it, and then it's also it's so difficult just to keep your nerves together when you have
so many hard aspects to doing that,
and hundreds of hours of practice have to be in place. Like you can't like be learning that day and doing that.
No.
That shit has to be dialed in.
But out of context, it's
Yes.
for some people, they're like, whoa, what's going on? These guys are laughing.
Exactly. Out of context. Why are you happy?
Yeah.
You're happy because it is an incredibly difficult thing to do, and there's a massive amount of relief. When you see that arrow, boom, go right into the pump station, you're like, oh, we did it. We did
Yeah.
it. All the practice paid off. And then it's just about respecting the animal and finding the animal and, you know, and taking it apart and then eating it. And when you're eating that animal, you're thinking, when you're serving it to your family and your friends, you're thinking about that moment. You're thinking about the hard work that it took to make that happen. And it's all the more enjoyable.
Yeah. And there is a switch. There's a switch from it's almost like relief and happiness a little bit that you performed as you have practiced for, you said, hours and hours, hundreds of hours. And then that arrow went right where it's supposed to. And you know that that's going to result in a humane death for the animal. So then you switch, because we went from that feeling good, smiling, to then the death of the animal as we walked up, and it's a complete night and day difference.
Yeah.
It was that's where the respect came in, and you're like, here's this dead animal, and you're not smiling.
No.
You're not, and for people who haven't been involved and don't know what it's like to take the life of something, I mean, everybody takes the life of something to live, as we just talked about, but when you haven't done it firsthand, that can be hard to understand.
Yeah, and I think our relationship with animals and food is skewed in this country because people are so aware of the horrors of factory farming. You know, you think about that, and a lot of people, they equate that with eating meat, and it's a really torturous and sick reality that is how a lot of the food in this country is. That's how it's made.
Yeah,
that's how it's grown. That's how it's harvested. But the difference between factory farming and hunting elk in the mountains could not be further apart.
Yeah.
Couldn't be further apart.
No, it couldn't.
You shoot one elk, you eat it for a year.
It was, I mean, and the challenge, I think, especially what we do with the bow, the challenge is what makes it so rewarding to me. I remember my first hunt this year, just a couple weeks ago in Oregon, it was 100 degrees, 90 degrees, full moon, the worst hunting conditions, you know, as people don't know, but a full moon means animals are out feeding because they can see at night. That means they're not out during the day, and then the heat keeps them suppressed, their activity suppressed. The bulls weren't really rutting. And my buddy, who's a lineman, Kevin Akers, he's a lineman for PGE, hardworking guy, manual labor. We just love elk hunting. He comes down every year to hunt with me just because we enjoy the challenge, and he loves elk hunting. And we were on day 5, and I'll remember he goes, man, this is almost turning into a flirting with a grind, a little bit of a grind on this hunt. And I was just like, no, what? I said, it's only day 5, dude. I said, I wish it was hotter. I wish there was 2 moons. And we were just having, you know, just joking around. He's always has a good attitude too. And it's just that challenge. So then when you have overcome that and you say you wish it was hotter, we quote Jocko all the time. And he says, yeah, I wish it was hotter. He goes, that'd make the water source more valuable. Good. Wanted to be hot. So anyway, when you have that mindset and you got to keep pushing. And on that hunt, I was just covering mile after mile after mile looking for fresh sign because the elk weren't moving. So I'd do, 10, 13 miles a day just looking for a fresh track. And finally we saw Ron Hofsis, who has logged down there forever. He saw a fresh rub. A bull had torn up a tree, and that was a bull had moved in. So we were like, okay, all right, now we're on to something. A bull had been here last night because it was just from the rub wasn't there the day before. It was there then. So I'm like, there's a bull in here. I'll find his track. We're going to find where they are. And we went through, and sure enough, that 5th evening of that hunt is when I saw there was a bull up on the ridge bugling. It actually funny. I mean, we were going through blackberries, and there was a bear about 10 feet away, and I had a bear tag too. And I look at the bear, and it looked like a pretty good bear. And I'm like, I know the bull was about 150 yards up the ridge, and there's a couple satellite bulls, and I'm like, God, I could kill this bear as long as it doesn't death moan really loud. I could go kill. So I come to full draw on the bear, and it like looks through the blackberries at 10 feet away and sees me and takes off. So I had to let up.
10 feet away.
10 feet. Yeah. He was like from us to Jamie. I mean, right in the right there, feeding because he was in the middle of
Now, a
blackberries.
bear that's eating nothing but blackberries would probably
Oh,
be
it'd be
insanely
so
delicious.
good. It'd be so good. And I had a bear tag, a mountain lion tag, a deer tag, and an elk tag. So I'm ready to make something happen. Anyway, I was going to kill this bear, but he took off. And so then I was focused back up on the bull, and I get up there, and the bull hadn't bugled in a while, but I saw there was a spike and a satellite bull and a cow. And I look up over the blackberries up on top of the ridge, and I see his antlers, and I was just like, Jesus, that's a big bull. So I turned around to Kevin. He was behind me. I go, giant bull. He didn't really know what I said, and I was just like, just stay here. So I took off my boots and snuck up there, and I was 55 yards from him, and he was just laying there, and I'm like, there's no way he's kind of facing quartering to me. There's no way he's just going to stay here this is a rut. I mean, he's feeling it. There's other bulls around here. So I stayed there at 55 yards, ranged him a few times just to verify. He ends up standing up and turning to face uphill. I come back 55, hold perfect, and hit him with a perfect arrow, and he went 30 yards and was dead in seconds. But so when you go from the point to all that was that whole challenge of not seeing anything, sweating your ass off, covering 13 miles a day looking for fresh sign, when that culminates in a giant 7x6 bull falling in 30 yards. There's relief, happiness. It's, as you say, you've just achieved this goal that I don't even know. It's so hard to explain how difficult it is, but that's what people see. So they see that, and in context, you can't capture a week of hunting and sweating your ass off and being in the sun. And
also, you can't explain how many people fail at this.
Everyone,
10%
almost
success rate
that's
amongst good hunters.
That's on any elk. So,
Yeah.
But you start talking about big bulls, I mean, it's less than 1%, of hunters.
Especially bow hunting.
Bow hunting for big bulls. And it's like, so that it's hard not to feel happy, but it's not that you're happy with the death of the animal. You're happy because you worked your ass off and you achieved a goal. And that would be anybody. That would be anybody. Now, when you transition to you walk up and the animal's dead, then there's reverence, and so there's that change. And I think if people do it just like you now, because now you've done it, but you can't blame people who haven't done it for not knowing.
No, and it's so hard when you watch if you ever watch a hunting television show. Most of them, there's a few that do a good job of sort of explaining and capturing what it's like, but most of them don't. There's a lot of flashing music and the kill shot and everybody celebrating,
high fives and fist bump. And it's like
people don't know. They don't know how you're seeing 22 minutes of something that probably took many, many days. And a lot of struggle and so much training to get to that point where you could pull that off.
Yeah.
Both cardio, hill running, all the different things you have to do, and then shooting the bow constantly. Like with a rifle, you could pick up a rifle and not having shot for years. And as long as you understand the principles of shooting a gun correctly and getting a surprise shot, you can, if you're shooting off sticks, you could put that crosshair on an animal and pull, blam, and shoot the animal. It can be done. I would recommend you practice, but you can pull it off.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way you're going to be able to pull off a long shot with a bow if you don't practice.
No.
You just can't do it.
No. And people who even practice every day fail.
Because it's nerves. Nerves are crazy. Nerves are a weird thing, man. It's like it protects you because, like, it's an animal, I gotta run. Like when you're in a situation where you need that adrenaline because your body's got to get the fuck out of there and do superhuman things as fast as you can.
Right.
Then in a situation like elk hunting, now you have to keep those nerves calm. It's the weirdest thing for someone like, especially I know there's a few fighters that have gotten into bow hunting, and fighters are used to just in the moment just fighting, like moving quick and reacting.
Right.
But bow hunting, you have to stay calm. You have to keep your heart rate in check. You have to be in the moment and just concentrate on the shot process, and don't get caught up in it. Don't let that anxiety get you. That's hard. That's hard for people. There's so many little mental games going on.
And there's also not knowing exactly when to hurry, when to slow down, what you can get away with. You're reading the animal, you're reading their body language. You don't know whether to close the gap between you and them quickly, or it's time to be patient. You don't know what the wind's going to do. There's so many things. That's why I always say, like, the better shape I'm in, I can make better decisions on all those micro decisions.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what leads ultimately to success. It's not running 10 miles a day, but that plays into all better decisions 1,000 times.
And there's some, I mean, I think that any really difficult thing that you do in this life, it elevates your ability to do difficult things. It elevates your understanding of who you are as a person and where you stand right now in this moment. And there's very few of those things that also sustain you with food. Mm-hmm. And this is the crazy combination what bow hunting is.
Yeah.
It's both a physical pursuit, a mental challenge, and sustenance. Mm-hmm. It's all these things together.
So powerful.
An amazing combination.
Yeah.
It changed my life. It really did. It's changed how I feel about food. It's changed my relationship with meat. You know,
and that's why you offered to write the foreword of my book.
Yes, I'm excited to do it. I've already got ideas. I'll tell you after I'm done. I don't want to tell you anything. I just want you to read it when it's done.
Okay.
Let's get the fuck out of here. We're going hunting next week, buddy.
Let's do it.
I'm excited.
I can't wait.
Utah.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank
Keep
you.
hammering.
And keep hammering, please.